burn fat by converting it into energy, and curb your appetite and cravings so you're not as hungry. But listen, lean is not for the casual dieter with only a few pounds to lose. The doctors at Brickhouse Nutrition created lean for frustrated dieters with 10 or more pounds to lose. Get started with 20% off and free rush shipping so you can add lean to your healthy diet and exercise plan. Go to takelean.com and enter the code Godzilla for your discount. That's discount code Godzilla at takelean.com.
Wagering at its finest, playing at the highest levels, under the highest stakes, for more than a decade. This is the world Past the Wire has conquered, bringing you uncompromised thoroughbred authority and elite track data that anchors the game. But the modern wagering landscape is expanding. Every sport, every line, every prop, and every high-leverage future, we decode the metrics across the entire board. From game day spreads to the explosive new frontier of prediction markets and event contracts, we give you intelligence to dominate the modern financial exchanges. Because in the end, it's a battle. You versus the house. You versus the other players. In this arena, we fight with you. We are your ultimate edge. Welcome to the Ultimate Wagering Network. Subscribe to Past the Wire TV and turn on notifications because when the dust settles,
nobody does it better.
Live from the studios of the John Fredericks Media Network, it's the John Fredericks Show. Grab yourself a cup of 1775 coffee, sit back, and get ready for the best 4 hours of talk in the universe. To be part of the show, just call our toll-free number, 888-480-5646. And now, here's the Godzilla of Truth, the Oracle of the Deplorables, the man about whom John Stamos once said, now there's a good-looking dude, John Fredericks.
Josh Hawley, Senator, you asked some really penetrating questions today. I mean, I've got the whole list here in front of me. What color are you wearing today? And all these other questions. He wouldn't answer a thing. As you listen to Greg Jarrett's legal analysis, are there options on the table short of states like my state of Florida going after him on the state level?
I think there absolutely are, Sean, and I think the first one is to hold him in contempt of Congress. And I would just say this, as a lawyer, former attorney general of my state, when you get immunity, and he's got it, he's got immunity from Joe Biden. I wish he didn't, but he's got it, as much immunity as Hunter Biden has. When you get that, you can't invoke the fifth. And he came today and invoked the fifth because he is guilty as all get out, and he knows it. But it was wrong what he did today. He did not have the right to do it. I think we should hold him in contempt. And Sean, here's just a little hint to viewers at home. Innocent people don't invoke the fifth. Fauci invoked it 111 times. You draw your own conclusion.
Well, what color tie are you wearing? I declined to answer because of my right to the Fifth Amendment. What day of the week is it? I declined to answer. You had time to sit for the In Style magazine. That was pretty powerful, Senator. How bad do you think this is? What do you glean, not only from these diaries, but what we learned previously, what Senator Paul put in his book?
Well, listen, I think that it's very, very bad. I think Fauci clearly lied about what he knew about the virus. He lied about Wuhan. He lied about funding it. Here's the other thing. He got rich during the pandemic, Sean. He got $1 million plus in cash prizes that he solicited for himself from his federal office using federal employees during the pandemic. You think about this. 1 million Americans died. And what was Anthony Fauci doing at work? Anthony Fauci was out trying to get awards for himself, taking $1 million in money. It was illegal, Sean. It was illegal to solicit that money. He did it anyway. That's yet another of his crimes. And I mean, there is nothing lower than that. Getting rich while other people are suffering and dying.
So contempt of Congress, and then the states, his pardon, whether it's legitimate or not, auto pen or not, does not hold up in the states. He can be charged on a state level, correct?
He certainly could be. The states could investigate him. I'm glad that they are. Congress can hold him in contempt. I hope that we will. next week, and I hope that the investigation will continue. I'll tell you what, though, Sean, the more we learn, the more we see what a crooked guy this was. I mean, he was just crooked from top to bottom. The fact that he would be sitting there taking this money, getting rich, lying about the virus, lying about the origins, and promoting himself as the most important person in the world, this was a sick guy, and he did tremendous damage to this country.
You know, he was pressuring, schools to shut down, pressuring masks to be put out, pressuring restaurants to be closed. And yet we find out he's having dinner with so-called journalists, et cetera, et cetera. And all the damage that had been done here. And then those, we've learned a lot of things. We learned, for example, one of the things, the treatments, therapeutics, was monoclonal antibodies. They were giving those away for free in the state of Florida, free to anyone that needed them for the period of time that they had them. There were other things. There were studies. The Henry Ford Hospital study on hydroxychloroquine, for example, came out. Oh, yeah, taken early. It did mitigate symptoms. And anyone that dared to bring this up, but the worst offense I felt, Dr. Robert Malone got demonized by many. He's the one that came up with the technology for the mRNA vaccine science, and he was telling the world it's not ready yet. He might use it for people with, that had pre-existing conditions or comorbidities, but nobody else. It's unbelievable, how he was demonized and others were demonized for trying to help people that actually had it, and they were doing so effectively. How do we prevent that from happening again?
Well, there were doctors like Peter McCulloch and Robert Malone and Pierre Corey who were saying from the beginning, they were looking at the data and saying, yeah, this causes myocarditis. It causes blood clots. It causes myocardial pulmonary infarctions. And they were being censored. They were being vilified, marginalized, demonized, delicensed, publicly scolded by the press. The media malpractice is really what I think we should focus on, because anybody who questioned Dr. Fauci was put off on an island. They were pariahs. And the media every day was telling us, trust the experts. Well, he was the expert. And we now know he was lying about everything. He was lying about masks. He was lying about social distancing. He was lying about lockdowns. He was lying about natural immunity. He was lying about the ability of the vaccine to prevent transmission and to prevent infection. He got the vaccine and he immediately got COVID-19, and then he got a pulmonary infarction. He was lying about the origins from day one. Why was he lying? Because he funded those studies at the Wuhan lab, and he funded the studies at the University of North Carolina that developed the techniques for weaponizing COVID-19, and then gave those, Ralph Barrick, his funded scientist at the University of North Carolina, gave those to Xi Jinping, the scientist, the bat lady scientist in the Wuhan lab, and he taught her a technique that Anthony Fauci had paid him to develop, called seamless ligation, which is also called no-seam. It's a way of manipulating the virus to make it deadly to human beings and then covering up the evidence of human manipulation. And why would anybody spend NIH money developing that kind of technology? It's bioweapons technology. It has nothing to do with public health. It's the opposite. It's the inverse of anything you would want to do with public health. Well, he took that and he gave it to the Chinese military lab at Wuhan. So these are, and as you mentioned at the beginning of this, we today, NIH, has now issued a policy to make sure these kind of experiments can never happen again, that NIH will never again pay for a dangerous gain-of-function experiment.
Dr. Scott Atlas, former special advisor to President Trump, former member of the Trump COVID task force. Doctor, you warned early on that the lockdowns, the closures, the mandates would inflict enormous damage to the country. But you still believe Fauci is hiding more information from the American people?
Well, I think he's certainly hiding what he said to the people to get coerced, really, scientists to write that it couldn't have been from the, lab leak because, of course, he signed off on grants. And I want to point out, Ashley Moody was really good at pointing out the reason why Biden's pardon goes back to 2014 for people who didn't see it, because in that year, there were 3 grants for gain-of-function research that were cited in papers co-authored by the Wuhan lab virology group on gain-of-function research in coronavirus. 2014 was the year he signed off on those grants. So that was very important. But I think, honestly, the most important takeaways, and I think you touched on this, Laura, very well, which is that it's an exposure. Okay, don't forget, there's a lot of people in this country who have never heard this, how this was not only a completely contrary to evidence pandemic response led by Fauci, but he didn't know the data. He had these perverse motives to do these things. He didn't know what he was talking about. So the exposure is very important. Secondly, there is some closure. I think that there were millions of regular Americans who fought back, who spoke up, who had a lot of courage, lost their jobs, and not to mention all the people who couldn't say goodbye to their dying mother or father, who needed some closure, some evidence that someone cared and was watching. And lastly, I think, and kudos to Rand Paul, there is some accountability for this. Because accountability, it's not going to be that Fauci goes to jail, in my view. And I'm not a lawyer, you are, maybe you disagree, but I actually think this was public accountability to a great extent. And the accountability is the only deterrent to stopping this from happening again. Well, this is how we lead our lives with our children, and I think we got some of that today.
Well, Dr. Atlas, the truth is he was in a bubble for most of his career. He had an esteemed career for decades. He was widely respected. His father, he's a widely respected scientist. So he had that reputation. But what happens when you skate on your reputation and you don't actually allow opposing viewpoints to be heard and taken seriously, and then you threaten people indirectly, maybe losing their medical licenses, maybe a call to Johns Hopkins, that's something quite different, is it not? And that shows the true vulnerability and, I think, ulterior motives that perhaps political actors in this whole process had all along.
100%. It was the behavior of a power-focused bureaucrat who used his power, and he had a tremendous amount of power with the media, power actually just as a voice that was amplified by everybody. And so what he did was he tried to stop dissent, to delegitimize and villainize anyone who opposed what he was saying, to block people from writing papers criticizing him, and he tried to get me fired from the White House. And luckily, I think President Trump understood what was going on with this, at least.
Dr. Atlas, for everything you did, thank you very much.
Ponder this. Why would God permit evil to occur? Why does he allow bad things to happen to good people? Why doesn't he intercede when innocent people are unjustly accused? These questions sometimes cause good people to turn their face away from God and question the very existence of God. But God does exist, and he does permit evil. Why, you ask? The short answer is that God permits evil to bring about a greater good. Think about this. The greatest evil ever committed is the killing of our God, Jesus Christ, the second person of the Holy Trinity. From this great evil came the greatest good, the opening of the gates of heaven. That's right, heaven did not open until Christ shed his blood for us. We must always trust God's plan for our salvation, especially when hard times fall upon us. Pray, trust, and persevere in good times and bad. I'm Susie Kelly, and I am passionately Catholic.
Now more than ever, it's imperative to support companies that share our conservative values. That's why I can't be more excited to tell you that I've switched my family to Patriot Mobile. Patriot Mobile is America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. When you switch to Patriot Mobile, you shift your support away from the leftist, woke, progressive agendas of Big Mobile. Patriot Mobile's wireless service works perfectly and seamlessly as you go about your lives with exceptional nationwide coverage that uses the same towers the main carriers use. Patriot Mobile donates a portion of every dollar earned to causes you care about, to organizations that fight for religious freedom, First and Second Amendments, sanctity of life, and the needs of veterans and first responders. Patriot Mobile has plans to fit any budget, along with great discounts for our veterans and first responder heroes, as well as multi-line users. Switching is easy. Just go to patriotmobile.com/Godzilla or call their U.S.-based customer service team, 972-PATRIOT. That's 972-728-7468. Use offer code Godzilla for free activation.
Everybody's talking about weight loss injections because the results are so dramatic. They work by lowering blood sugar and reducing appetite. So, what if you're looking to lose weight but not interested in painful weekly injections, especially when you hear about some of those intense side effects? That's why doctors created a weight loss supplement called Lean, and the results are remarkable. The ingredients studied in Lean have been shown to lower your blood sugar, burn fat by converting it into energy, and curb your appetite and cravings, so you're not as hungry. But listen, Lean is not for the casual dieter with only a few pounds to lose. The doctors at Brickhouse Nutrition created Lean for frustrated dieters with 10 or more pounds to lose. Get started with 20% off and free rush shipping so you can add Lean to your healthy diet and exercise plan. Go to takelean.com and enter the code Godzilla for your discount. That's discount code Godzilla at takelean.com. Washington is wasting $500 million every year on a federal supervision system that doesn't work. Probation officers are overwhelmed. Resources are going to people who pose zero threat, while actual dangerous individuals slip through the cracks. The Safer Supervision Act stops the waste and refocuses every dollar on protecting families from harm. President Trump's own pollster found about 80% of Trump voters want this fixed. It's time for Congress to get this done. Stop the waste. Protect our communities. Visit safersupervision.com. Paid for by the Reform Action Fund.
And they're off. This summer, the Thunder returns to Colonial Downs Racetrack. Live thoroughbred racing June 25th through September 7th. Feel the excitement. Hear the roar of the crowd. Experience Virginia's premier horse racing destination every Thursday through Sunday all summer long. Bring the whole family for Family Fun Sundays, packed with activities for all ages. Parking? Free. General admission? Free. Memories? Priceless. Make Colonial Downs Racetrack your new summer fun time tradition. Get tickets and race day info now at colonialdowns.com.
Back here live at the Waterfront Village with my friend, the zombie, Jonathan. You're looking good. Jonathan just got an awesome face paint job. What do you think?
I like turtles.
All right, you're great zombie. And
don't touch that dial. You found your home of the truth.
Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
With the best analysis in America.
You can't handle the truth.
And now back to the John Fredericks Show.
And it's great to have you with us. I'm John Fredericks, your Godzilla of the truth in America, your oracle of the deplorables. You know, we don't always like to play 10-minute, 15-minute, 12-minute, whatever that was, cold open. But this Fauci thing, you really have to delve into it and understand what went on yesterday, invoking the Fifth Amendment, never answering a single question during this COVID-19. Those of us that went through this in the media, this censorship, I mean, it almost destroyed my company because we were censored by everybody because you tried to tell the truth. The whole thing was nonsense. From day one, it was done. It was leaked out of that lab to do one thing. That was to destroy the Trump economy, stop him from being reelected. The kids in schools with masks on, 3 years old, 5 years old, we lost 2 years of education. The generation will never get this back. Never. I mean, this guy was unbelievable. It's one of the most sickening things in my life that will ever deal. And my big concern is, and I've said this before, the buried lead is that we fell for it and that we didn't ask questions and that the government, the liberals, the libtards, the communists, they went as far. They really wanted to see how far they could go. They wanted to see how far they could push us. And they pushed us to the limit and nobody fired back verbally. No, I mean, those that did were a minimal voice. And so you saw the power they have when the government gets together and shuts you down. You saw the power they have. I mean, they took a nation of 350 million people, rugged individualism, all the things that we have. They took us and we were cowering in our homes with the blind closed in a corner, not going to church, not going to school, and just accepting it because you might get a virus. And yet it was sick. The whole thing was sick. The masks were a joke. We knew that from day one. Masks were a joke. Social distancing, they made this up. And, I'm going to get to Eddie Iranian in Egypt in a minute, but I want to play the Deborah Burks clip here. If we can do this, let me see if I can find it. It was
cut 19.
19. Let's play 19. I want to play this because I was in a White House meeting with her 3 times, and she lied. And I asked her direct questions in that conference room. Direct questions, looked her right in the eye. And she lied to me on 3 separate occasions. She's another lying piece of shit. Deborah Burks. The whole thing was concocted. Go ahead, roll it.
When President Trump said to me, we will never close down America again, as what happened, in which I couldn't understand how that happened so rapidly. We put out guidelines to slow the spread, and the next thing we know, everything is closed down. Now I know that Dr. Fauci was having private conversations with these governors and mayors to tell them to close the schools and to tell them, while we were trying to figure out how to contain the virus without doing all of that. A long way of saying, you have to follow what your commander-in-chief is saying to you. That doesn't mean that you change the science. It doesn't mean you change the data.
This is a revision of history. This is a total revision of history. First of all, she had 19 face jobs. Whatever that does, she still has the scarf on like she's, selling me real estate. Hey, we have a walk-in bedroom. There's a finished basement. It's good to know. I mean, this is like the real estate agent. She sat there in those meetings. We asked her point blank questions. What do paper masks do? I asked her this question. What do paper masks do? What evidence is this based on? Well, John, we're following the data. What data? We're following the data. Every question answer. We're following the data, John. And she'd come in with this huge binder of like printouts, with like 2 feet high. Like she was like reading like stats. We're gonna follow the data, John. Where were you if Fauci was closing these schools? Where were you? You were sitting there right there with him, egging him on. You were part of the social distancing. You were part of the mask. You were part of the shutdowns. You would say a word. Pence was in charge of that. He didn't say a word. Nobody said anything. There was fear. We had elections coming up and nobody knew what was going to happen. And you sat there in those meetings. You never once said what you're saying now. You're a lying piece of shit. The problem with these people, and Fox is doing the same thing. It's revising history. Oh, we were there in the forefront. No, you weren't. You weren't there in the forefront. Nobody censored Fox. Nobody lost their business at Fox. Nobody lost their job at Fox. Nobody got fired at Fox. Nobody. Okay, so now they're revising history. And Burks is revising history. And that's the kind of stuff that ticks me off because you know what, lady, real estate lady, I was there. And then when you resigned, lady? You resigned, when? And I remember when you came to Virginia. You resigned when they caught you going to your lake, your beach house in the Outer Banks. Your whole family, no masks, nothing. They photoed you there, and then you had to resign. So you were a fraud then. Then you come to Virginia and you blast Trump with whoever the governor was, Ralph Northam. You think I don't remember that press conference? What do you think? I'm stupid? I mean, the revision of history is incredible. Listen to me right now, what you went through. Couldn't go to church. Couldn't go to job without this thing. Couldn't do anything. Got censored, right? Got deplatformed. Got thrown off X. I got thrown off X. Got thrown off Uh, YouTube, I had 60,000 followers. They canceled me for everything, for life. I had to start from zero when I finally got it back. It goes on and on and on. We were vilified. You lied to us. We were vilified. And now you're going to sit there and try to like change history with your 5 facelifts or whatever you got, lady, with your scarf on. You got to be kidding me. They all got to be called out. Because those of us that were there, you think I'm making this up? I tell you what to ask. There were people in there with that in those meetings with me. Jason was one of them. Former senior advisor to President Trump. They had select media in those meetings. Select. There was like 4 of us, and I was one of the selected ones because they know I wouldn't lie. I was one of the selected ones back then, and Trump won. And I sat in 3 of those meetings. 2 of them, my seat was right next to Vice President Pence. Kushner was there. Before 3 of them with Birx. She was like the internal spokesperson. You know, Fauci was out there lying to everybody nationally. Yeah, we all remember this. And to Dr. Atlas's point, I think it was Atlas who you heard in the montage, Atlas nailed it. 100%. The accountability for this guy's not coming from jail. He's not going to jail. The accountability comes from the public shame. And that's real. And look, I'm not perfect. No one is. But don't sit there and lie to me and then come on Fox News now like you were like, yeah, I was telling the president, we didn't need to close this stuff. That is really? You have any evidence? Because you certainly didn't tell us that. You certainly didn't sit in those meetings with Vice President Pence and say, closing all this stuff down is a mistake. I don't know why we're doing this. You never said a word. You're talking about following the data and masks and social distancing. You made it up. And then you're caught going with your family at your beach house in Outer Banks. 12 people there. Nobody got masks on. Oh, we can't have over 6 people. Yeah, you're a fraud. You're all liars. Never again, folks. Never again are we going to go through this. Never again. And the fact that, we cower. I mean, I watched my mother die. I talked to her through a window at the nursing home, sitting on the grass, me and Den Black and Ann and Joe standing on the lawn, talking to her through a window on a cell phone. They wouldn't even open the window so I could talk to her through the screen. This is how my mother died. Screw you. Screw all you people. You're a bunch of liars, and now you want to revise history along with Fox News TV for stupid people. All right, I had enough. You want to get me fired up? This will fire me up at 6 a.m. because I was there and I remember it. Point friggin' blank. I'll never get those images out of my mind now that you look back on it. Now she's in there with her facelifts. Oh, I don't know why they closed it. What? Excuse me? Now, people, John, we're going to follow the data. That was her line. John, I'm just following the data. Well, and this is what I said to her. Well, what data do you have that says a paper mask stops the spread? Oh, we're going to follow the data. It's emitted this way or that way. What data do you have that says I got to stand 6 feet from somebody in an elevator? Like, what data do you have? They just made it up. Eddie Iranian coming up. Let's get to Ed. We got Ed here live in Cairo, Egypt.
I think we lost Ed, actually. I think bad connection again.
I mean, it's like we just got to stop because it just never works. We do have stuff going on with that, but I can't take this lady. Okay, I can't take now coming back and reliving the lies. Okay, the lies, constant lies. Now, you've got Mandami now in New York. This whole thing with Mandami has become something else. You've got Mandami. I'm gonna get to him here in a second. But I tell you what, why don't we start with Axios Instant here? Says that Elon Musk is prepared to fund tens of hundreds of millions of dollars in the midterms, and we're going to need it big time. Okay, now we got Edward back. Oh, I got 15 things going on. So when you have a lot going on, you start with the scripture, especially when you're upset. You go to the scripture. One thing the scripture does, one thing the Bible does, it's very soothing. It brings you back to baseline. So I'm going to read you my verse of the day here from Matthew 5:14-16. You are the light of the world. Let your light shine before men, that they may see your good deeds and praise your Father in heaven. Okay, so with that, we'll get to cut one. Here's Axios saying that Elon Musk is prepared now to spend tens of hundreds of millions of dollars in midterms. Roll it, one.
Billionaire Elon Musk about to make a massive investment to boost Republican turnout for the midterms. It's a big bet, and Axios is breaking this news just now. Musk's representatives are declining to say just how much Musk is planning to spend, but they told Axios the number is expected to be high. Now, obviously, Musk is the richest man in the world, so high could be absolutely anything. And just the only context we have is that he spent more than $250 million in the 2024 election. Out front now, Alex Eisenstadt, the Axios White House senior political reporter who just broke this story. So, Alex, you know, as I said, $250 million last time, and this is a guy who's gotten a lot richer since then. I mean, that's pocket change for him. What's your sense of how much money Musk could be about to spend?
Definitely in the tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions. This is going to be a very in-depth effort, and Elon Musk is going to be playing an incredibly central role now in the GOP's fall turnout efforts in basically spearheading, door-knocking voter turnout efforts for the party. So he is now going to be a very key figure as Republicans try to maintain control of both chambers of Congress, which is not going to be necessarily easy to do.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, odds are, if you look at it now, that would not happen. But I know Speaker Johnson has indicated optimism. I'm curious what your sense is from your reporting, Alex, that, you know, the specificity of this, that it's on voter turnout specifically, right? What does that say to you in terms of where the Republican focus is, that Musk would have that specificity?
Sure. So Musk has been talking with the Trump team. This has been playing out in recent weeks and recent months. And what Musk wants to do is to focus on low propensity voters, people who are, in other words, less likely to turn out to the polls, especially in a non-presidential election year, right? So some voters might be a little less motivated to turn out when a presidential election isn't on the ballot. And that's who Musk is going to be focused on.
So when you look at Musk, though, in general, right, you ask people what they think about him. Obviously, everyone knows who he is. His popularity numbers are bad. Only 34% of Americans view him favorably in the most recent poll from Reuters Ipsos, which was in June. I mean, do Republicans want him on the campaign trail the way he was the last time around? And when it even comes to his money, do they want, you know, anyone to know where it's coming from?
So this is really interesting. Your viewers will remember that back in 2024, Musk got behind Trump and actually became kind of a central figure in the 2024 campaign, going out on the campaign trail himself. He held events independently. He handed out $1 million checks to people, and he became a big figure in that race. There is no indication so far that Musk is going to be playing as public a role this time around. He might be cutting big checks. He will definitely be cutting big checks. But he won't necessarily be going out to Pennsylvania or Ohio and having those big in front of the camera events that he had in 2024.
I mean, it's incredible what is going on here. And I think Elon Musk needs to put the money in to save America. I mean, he made all this money. And if you're going to get a communist regime, then what good is it, right? So Mandami's got a text here. I thought I had this clip here but I can't find it right now for some reason, Dan. But I've got the Baker clip. But Mandami has a new tax, and the new tax he has is on second homes. I mean, this guy's just making this stuff up. So he's saying that if you have two homes, or you own two housing properties in New York City, and the second one is over $5 million, he's going to tax that wealth from zero up. So basically, if you own two properties in New York within the city boundaries, you're going to get taxed double on the second one. I mean, this is just insane. Then what he's going to do, let's get to cut 20 here. Then what he's going to do, this whole thing, folks, I cover Mandami because this whole thing is going to end up in riots, right? You know that. Looting, riots, and the city will burn. It's inevitable. That's why I'm covering it now. Here's Jerry Baker. He says, Mandami's doxing New York City homeowners is going to do massive damage. I mean, he's doxing homeowners because their homes are too big. I mean, you think about this. He's putting people's names out there that's saying, these people have too much. We need to take it from them. I mean, if you don't think violence is coming here, but that's what they want. This is unbelievable. And it goes under the radar screen, except for me. 20, take a look at this.
It's also a message Mamdani sends to those wealthy New Yorkers, to your point, that pay a disproportionate amount of the city's personal income taxes. You didn't build that. You didn't earn that. Your family didn't build that, didn't earn that. Michael Goodwin said it's an outright hatred of New Yorkers. It's a hatred of the city on the part of Mayor Mamdani. To me, though, as an observer of the economy, and specifically the economy right now in this moment with this mayor in New York City, this builds a level of uncertainty that the market will not reflect well in the market here. It will not reflect well in the economy. You look at the number of residents that they listed there with values, again, how is that defined? Of a pied-à-terre, 5 million or above. They're targeting 10,000, they say, but how many were on that spreadsheet? 960,000 residents were named.
Right.
You don't know what's coming.
Right.
You're going to leave.
Yeah, exactly. It's not just the 30,000 or so. It's all these other. You're by doing that, you're essentially sending a signal saying, yeah, hey, look, you may not be in this 30,000, but we're coming for you somehow. We're going to find. Look, socialism is the politics of envy, right? It's people saying you have too much money. I should have some of that money. It doesn't work. It hasn't worked. American capitalism has succeeded precisely because people have been able to earn, again, pay their fair share. We all understand paying your fair share in taxes, but they've been free to earn money and not to have this, not only just the fear of confiscation, but the uncertainty about confiscation. Am I going to lose this money or not? I don't know. Does my property fall into this band or not? Is he going to come along with another set of proposals or not? It's that uncertainty that chills investment. It chills the dynamic spirits of capitalism. And it will, again, do massive damage to the city's
Ken
economy.
Griffin's point.
You know, the people who are going to benefit from this are the people of Florida and the people of Texas, where these people are going to go, and they're going to produce jobs there. They're going to produce all these trickle-down jobs that will exist elsewhere and won't exist in New York. They're the people who are going to benefit. New Yorkers will suffer.
You think about this. I mean, nobody is covering this except me in depth. You think about what they did. They said they targeted 30,000 New Yorkers and doxed them that have values of homes that are too high, that they shouldn't have those. But they sent out a spreadsheet with 900,000 addresses and names. That's almost 1 million people. So if you're on that list and you live in New York City, and they got this right here. I mean, I might not be in the 30,000, but if I'm in the 700,000 or 500,000, I got to get out of there because I'm next. And what they're going to do is they're going to target every single homeowner, and they're going to determine whether or not that home that you have is worth what it's worth, and then why do you have it, and why do you need it, and other people need some of that money, and they're going to start taxing you at an exorbitant rate to give it to them. Because you have too much. Just like when I said yesterday in my TikTok feed, these free grocery stores will cause breadlines and riots. Because I want you to think about this, what they've done. They've also, in order to get the groceries under 30% of cost, you have to have a card. And on that card, you have to check it out. And on that card, there's no income qualification. But you have to have that card to check it out. Why? Because they want to know who's buying it, and they want to track everything you buy. So eventually they're going to come and say, you know what? You're buying too much meat. You don't need all that meat. You don't need all that chicken. You don't need all those eggs. It's way too much protein. You need to buy more ramen noodles. You need to buy more Twinkies or whatever. This is too much. Then they're going to start rationing. Because if you own a grocery store within 2 miles of these people, guess what? These grocery stores don't pay rent. They don't have restrictions. They don't pay fines or anything else. They don't pay for the city. They don't pay a mortgage. They don't pay any of the regulations. They don't pay any of that. They're government owned. They pay nothing. And then they're subsidizing the cost of food. I own a Bodego, a grocery store 10 blocks away. I got to pay rent. I got to pay the regulation fees. I got to pay property tax. I got to pay a mortgage. I pay all this stuff. They pay nothing, and they're undercutting me by taxpayer dollars, by people in Rochester giving money to New York City so that they can buy food 30% under. I eventually go out of business. Those jobs are gone, and then the shortage comes because there's no food. And then they're going to start restricting what you can buy. They're already doing now, saying one grocery cart a month. Well, I got 5 kids, that's 5. I got 5 friends, I got 10 friends, that's 10. I mean, it's ridiculous. Riots are coming. And nobody will say a word because in the short term, he gets votes. Kathy Hochul's a coward and she's a hostage. John Fredericks Media Network coming in hot today. Stay with us.
The Iran war sending oil prices higher while stocks tumble. The Dow fell more than 1,100 points yesterday. The blue chip index suffering its biggest loss in over a year. The Federal Reserve voting to hold the line on interest rates. Russia has unleashed a devastating overnight attack on Ukraine.
The onslaught of ballistic missiles and drones has been going on for hours. Explosions were first reported in Kyiv shortly before midnight local time. Several fires broke out and the authorities have been urging people to remain in shelters. As the night has gone on, waves of cruise missiles and drones have been reported heading for targets across the country. First to the central cities of Dnipro and Kryvyi Rih, but soon as far west as Lviv, where 2 apartment buildings have been damaged.
The BBC's Ali McConnell. There will be no Senate committee vote today on Attorney General nominee Todd Blanche. Vote's been canceled. 2 Republicans, Senators John Cornyn and Tom Tillis, threatening no votes. He delivered a lengthy statement, but then refused to answer any questions. Dr. Anthony Fauci appearing before a Senate panel investigating the origins of COVID-19. Fauci repeatedly took the fifth. Senator Rand Paul says Fauci owes Americans an apology for his handling of the pandemic.
Instead of an apology, you have for years avoided responsibility.
And Paul raises the possibility of Fauci being held in contempt of Congress. Progress in the battle against raging wildfires in southwest France. 84,000 of the evacuees now being allowed to return to their homes. Watching Wall Street this morning, the Dow futures 154 points higher. NASDAQ futures up 298. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Veterans and active duty service members, when your call to service ends, your mission doesn't have to. Go from GI to IT in just a few months at My Computer Career. Prepare for a high-demand career in cybersecurity, protecting people, systems, and institutions from real cyber threats. Cyber warriors are needed now. Will you answer the call? Go to mycomputercareer.edu/CWP to learn more. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP, an elite CompTIA certification partner. VA education benefits are available to those who qualify.
So Karen and Michael Collins were in their 20s. They were newly married, and Michael found out he had cancer, stage 4. They're members of MediShare, and MediShare came through for them, not just financially.
But they called and they said, hey, we know you're going through treatment. We just wanted to call and pray for you. And it rocked my world.
MediShare was a blessing to us because they just made it so easy.
Call now, and you'll see why so many Christians have made the switch to MediShare. Here's the number, 833-34-BIBLE. That's 833-34-BIBLE.
A man already convicted for an attack on author Salman Rushdie has been found guilty of additional charges.
Hadi Matar, the man who stabbed Satanic Verses author Salman Rushdie at the Chautauqua Institution, has been convicted of federal terrorism charges. A jury in Buffalo, New York took just a few hours to find him guilty of all charges, including engaging in an act of transnational terrorism. Matar faces a potential life sentence at his sentencing in November. He's already serving a 25-year sentence for attempted murder on state charges. Prosecutors said evidence from Matar's New Jersey bedroom and his computer pointed to months of tracking and preparations for what he hoped would be an execution. I'm Jennifer King.
As wildfires burn and heat waves grip France and Spain, a severe drought is causing record low water levels on the Danube River, affecting tourism and industry. The river flows through 10 countries. It has receded to unprecedented lows, exposing rocks, old shipwrecks, even a World War II bomb. News and analysis, townhall.com. A historic divinity school is offering the first doctoral degree in AI and moral agency.
At the end of the Civil War, a Union soldier and Baptist minister founded a school in Raleigh, North Carolina to provide formerly enslaved people with religious literacy. Now that same school, Shaw University, wants to provide literacy of a new kind, AI literacy. Starting next year, Shaw's Divinity School plans to offer a new degree track, the Doctor of Education in Artificial Intelligence and Moral Agency. It will become the first theological school of the Association of Theological Schools Network to offer a degree in AI on either the master's or doctoral level. Keith Peters reporting.
Microsoft posting strong quarterly earnings, surpassing expectations with significant growth in its cloud computing platform as well as a boost in paid AI users. More on these stories. Townhall.com.
MyPillow's second annual mega sale is finally here. Get our patented premium MyPillows that adjust your exact individual needs to give you the best sleep of your life.
When I got MyPillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
I guarantee they're going to be the most comfortable pillows you'll ever own. King size only $24.98, queen size only $19.98. Giza Dream bed sheets, the best sheets in history, as low as $29.98. Lux Pierce 6-piece towel sets, towels that actually dry you. What a concept. Now only $39.98. And our made in the USA mattresses and mattress toppers as low as $99.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to take advantage of our second annual mega sale. Plus free shipping options available when you order today. So don't delay, order now.
Everybody's talking about weight loss injections because the results are so dramatic. They work by lowering blood sugar and reducing appetite. So, what if you're looking to lose weight but not interested in painful weekly injections, especially when you hear about some of those intense side effects? That's why doctors created a weight loss supplement called Lean, and the results are remarkable. The ingredients studied in Lean have been shown to lower your blood sugar, burn fat by converting it into energy, and curb your appetite and cravings, so you're not as hungry. But listen, Lean is not for the casual dieter with only a few pounds to lose. The doctors at Brickhouse Nutrition created Lean for frustrated dieters with 10 or more pounds to lose. Get started with 20% off and free rush shipping so you can add Lean to your healthy diet and exercise plan. Go to takelean.com and enter the code Godzilla for your discount. That's discount code Godzilla at takelean.com.
The Trump administration has brought positive changes when it comes to fixing our broken healthcare system. If we really want to make America healthy again, well, that starts at home, and that's where the Wellness Company comes in. You see and hear from the Wellness Company doctors all the time, and you know their products are the gold standard for keeping you and your family safe and healthy, giving you the opportunity to make sure you're prepared for whatever happens with their prescription medical kits. Additionally, the Wellness Company offers a variety of products, from parasite cleanses to methylene blue to weight loss and so much more. Make America healthy again starts at home. Do your part and protect the health of you and your family. Live a healthier, longer, and more satisfying life. Go to twc.health/Godzilla and order. That's twc.health/Godzilla. Use promo code Godzilla to save 10% today.
Hey folks, Al Green here for SatPhone. When you're on the go, you want to know you're connected. If it's a family vacation or an off-the-grid escape to a remote destination, having reliable communication helps you feel safe and secure. You can't afford to find yourself in a dead zone. That's why you need SatPhone. SatPhones are reliable, durable, and give you global coverage. If you can get outside, you can get in touch. It's that simple. Make calls from your SatPhone to any regular cell phone in the United States. The phones are $1,500 value, but you can get yours free. Just sign up for a 15-month plan, $94.95 a month. Get 150 minutes monthly that roll to the next month. Go 3 months without using them, that's fine. Yes, 3 months, 450 minutes, all yours. Visit SAT123.com or call 855-980-5830. SAT123.com, 855-980-5830. Get surety and security with your SatPhone. Call now.
Live from the studios of the John Fredericks Media Network, it's the John Fredericks Show. Grab yourself a cup of 1775 coffee, sit back, and get ready for the best 4 hours of talk in the universe. To be part of the show, just call our toll-free number, 888-480-5646. And now, here's the Godzilla of Truth, the Oracle of the Deplorables, the man who never has a failure to communicate, John Fredericks.
Well, I'm your Godzilla of the Truth in America, your Oracle of the Deplorables. A little fired up today. Got Phil Klein coming in. But, I do this every day as a ritual. I'm taking my lean weight loss because I'm trying to lose another 25 pounds, Phil. I got from 285 to 245. So I lost 40. I did a PhD weight. Then I plateaued. Like months I've been at 240. I go to 242. I go to 247, right? Nothing happens. So I'm getting a little frustrated. So I want to lose some serious weight. I got to get down to fighting weight, 220. So I got another 25 to go. So I'm not going to take the GLP. I'm just not. No, I'm not criticizing it. If you take it, that's fine. But I'm not into that stuff. It's synthetic, spikes your blood sugar. I'm too old. I'm 68. Coupled with the fact I've heard from people that once you go off it, you shoot back up. I'm not interested in that either. So I got turned on to lean weight loss. And the thing about lean is it supports your metabolism. It reduces your appetite and it gives you energy. And you take 3 of these little babies in the morning, right here, Dan. Dan you ought to check this out, Dan. 3 little things here. You get a glass of water, right? You down them. Done. 7 a.m. I'm good for the day. Take 3 in the morning. And so far, I lost a pound. I've only been on it nine days, but I have to tell you, I do feel more energy, but I do get a good night's sleep. But I do feel a little more energetic than I normally do. I think you saw that me coming in hot the last 2 days. So I get a little more energy. But the other thing is, I don't have the cravings. Well, the toughest thing for a lot of us is grabbing that stuff in the afternoon. I mean, that's really the toughest thing because you eat your breakfast, you eat your lunch, you have dinner, and it's 2 things. It's like middle of the day, you grab that snack. Worst thing you can do, right? Does your body no good? That's not good. And then, you've eaten dinner and now you go to bed and now you're having, something else. Those are gone. I think if you can do that, you're going to be successful with this, and it's all natural, which is why I like it. It's doctor formulated. It supports your metabolism, gives you energy, targets appetite for fat loss, which is good. I'm on it. Tina's on it, our director of marketing. So we're going to tell you how you make it, how we do. But take this journey with us because you don't want to wait. Because it's the end of the summer. You want to lose some weight. John in Monmouth County is the one that turned me onto it. He lost 15 pounds in what was it? 8 weeks. So and he's a medical practitioner. So he's taking it and he had success with it. So John, thank you for that. Just go to takelean.com. Takelean.com. So all you got to do, takelean.com, promo code Godzilla, 10% off. Promo code Godzilla, 10% off. Takelean.com. And it's all about lifestyle, feeling better, quality of life, all that good stuff. You get a little bit older. Extra weight does nothing for you. It's just it's all bad. And like, I don't have the time to go, spend 2 hours working out a day. I just don't. I try to do my 75 push-ups. I couldn't do them this week because I had a procedure done, so I got to take a week off. But you walk once in a while. But who's got time? I get up at 3:45 a.m. What, I'm going to get up now at 3 and go walk? I mean, come on, not going to happen. So you do what you can do. But I'm very excited about my journey on lean. Check it out and take the journey with me. Go to takelean.com, takelean.com, promo code Godzilla. Boom, you're going to get 10% off. Okay, it's the man of the hour. Phil Klein is joining me. Liberty University, professor of law, former AG, Kansas. Phil, thanks for joining us.
Good morning.
Hey, did the Royals win last night? Did they beat the Twins?
I don't know, John.
I don't either. Dan, look it up. I didn't bet the game. I bet 2 games last night. He had 2.
And Dan, check and see if we're out of the cellar yet.
I don't think so. I don't think you're out of the cellar.
Yeah.
I think your guys are in last place. But Dan had 2 games last night up on Godzilla Wins. Won them both. Astros beating the Angels, not because the Astros are any good. The Angels are done. I mean, they just lose every day. They're horrible. I think the game Monday night. I saw it on replay. I mean, throwing the ball all over the place, errors, but they can't field the bunt. They're just horrible. And then I bet Tampa because the last time Tampa lost 2 games in a row at home this season, April. A Texas Monday. So I bet them. So winner chicken dinner.
Yeah. Well, hey JF, Royals 4-0 winners yesterday over the Twins.
All right, there we go.
Congratulations, Phil.
Every time you think the Twins are going to make a move, they just tank again. But Astros now, I think 1 game out, right? Unbelievable. As bad as we are, just that everybody else in the division sucks too. We all suck. Anyway, go to GodzillaWins.com. I've won 11 out of my last 13 MLB games. Now I'll put that against
that's decent.
Anybody.
That's decent.
No, that's not decent. That how tough baseball is.
Well, you can put out a betting book here pretty soon and make some additional money.
I do.
You keep the streak up. Yeah.
Go to GodzillaWins.com.
And
starting on August 3rd, we have a new sports handicapping show starting at 6 to 7 p.m. Pass the Wire Sports with Frank Zaccanelli, former general manager and president of the Dallas Mavericks. So this guy knows a little bit about sports. That's launching Monday, 6 to 7 p.m. Pass the Wire Sports. Check it out. Phil, great to have you with us. I want your take on Fauci. I got your little text there. I agree with you. There's not the whole contempt thing is not going to work. But what was your take on the whole thing?
Well, it was disturbing, greatly disturbing to watch, of course. Here's a public official who essentially ruled the nation as an emperor, as many state governors did, by the way, under these protracted emergency powers. And the result was small businesses were bankrupt. People couldn't spend time with their loved ones as they died. Marriages were canceled. At the same time, the elite was still doing what they always do. Political marches were allowed on the left. They were denied on the right. We represented a lot of groups who were threatened with arrest if they spoke out and gathered during the 2020 election cycle. Churches shut down, strip joints opened, big box stores continuing to work with their political clout while the small businesses were closed. The largest wealth shift in United States history, from small business to big tech. It was disgusting how this country reacted to COVID. And my concern, what hits me in all this, John, is not only that, of course, Fauci has been exposed as a person who was not keeping public health foremost in his mind during this time, is how willing America was to believe it. How quickly we were willing as a nation to report on our neighbor because they didn't have a mask on. How willing some people were to support the arrest of a woman outside with their family watching a football game because she didn't have her mask on. How willing we were to buy into this. As you know, at that time, we were going around the nation, and we were representing business owners and others who were trying to fight some of this insanity that was being imposed upon them. And I remember the palpable fear of people at that time. They were frightened not only of the virus, which was, of course, overstated, but not just overstated in the initial time frame, overstated for months on how it would impact people. And they were frightened of their own government. And you know, some of it comes down to this for me, and I greatly appreciate your reference to scripture this morning. Yeah, we don't exist in a vacuum with our faith. We have to place our faith somewhere to live day to day with some type of hope. And I'm afraid what COVID revealed is we placed our faith in government, a blind faith, and then also a faith in science. And I always rebelled against this statement, follow the science. Science does not teach us what ought to be. Science only teaches us what is. Good science in the hands of immoral people does horrible things. History witnesses that. Visit Dachau. Look at the Nuremberg medical trials where the medical doctors were experimenting on these inmates of concentration camps. Science is morally neutral. Human beings have morality or they're immoral, and they can use good science for bad things. And what happened in 2020 is we had bad science in the hands of bad people who, as the left always does, used fear to try to consolidate power into unaccountable institutions and away from those transparency and accountability requirements that are present in a democratic republic. And what concerns me is how the legacy media just jumped on board without question, and how many Americans believed that was the best way to approach government. It's frightening to me.
You know, that might be the best 6-minute segment you've ever had. I want you to elaborate on this because you and I are the only two people saying the buried lead in this is the fact that this great nation of so many great people just cowered and folded their tent over the government telling them what to do and changing their lives based on basically a virus.
It was scary to see. You know, I was up in Mason, Michigan, and I was speaking to a small business owner as some of this broke out. And that business owner was telling me about the new government regulations that were being imposed by the hour and how impossible it was to comply with them, how many of them were internally contradictory, and that they could be shut down at any moment, and how frightening it was. And you know, that happened across the country, John, and at the same time, you had those with political clout being able to keep their businesses opened. You know, we were filing lawsuits challenging these emergency powers that were continuing on a protracted basis that gave governors essentially, it made the governors the law. What they woke up and said was the law. And what they woke up and said could change by the afternoon. And none of it was backed by science. I mean, the legacy media, all they had to do was go back 6 months before COVID, and you could see scholarly papers that said masks do not work. Fauci said masks do not work. It didn't matter. The legacy media and many in America believe their only hope rests with government action fixing every single problem. And that's frightening to think about. Now, we weren't as bad, and we're not as bad as Europe. I remember I was interviewing a fairly prominent social media influencer in Europe who had visited America, and she said, I felt like I could breathe free air again because, and she told me a story. They said that, she said during COVID, the European government, or I'm sorry, the government of Great Britain, on one day, scheduled a time for people to come out of their homes which they weren't allowed out of their homes much of the time, and for a minute applaud to the sky to thank government workers for saving them from COVID. And people who didn't, some were reported to the government for not participating. That's not only Orwellian, that is horrifically frightening to me, and hopefully to most Americans. But I don't believe it's frightening to the modern Democratic Party. I don't believe it's frightening to the administrative state. They truly believe they're the savior of your life. They are not. They are not. So it comes down to what's America going to be, and where do we place our faith? And are you really going to place your faith and hope in the Beltway?
You think we would ever allow this to happen to us again, Phil?
Say that again, John. I'm sorry.
Do you think we would ever allow this to happen to us again?
Oh, I think COVID proved that we would. I've always thought that America is one crisis away from turning the wrong direction. We turned the wrong direction in COVID. And I appreciate Congress for getting to the bottom of this. It has to be exposed, and hopefully, I have my doubts of the legacy media. Maybe their conscience will be pricked enough to report on some of this. But America needs to become aware of how bad it was. There, for example, in Michigan, there was a restaurant owner who decided to reopen her restaurant and do all of the social distancing and try to make it work. And she went on Fox News and she criticized the governor and the health department. Well, based on that criticism, there are emails in Michigan in which political officials asked her to be arrested for violating the emergency COVID orders, and she was. If the America that is steeped in the recognition of individual liberty had seen that and read it, and it's available for people to look at, there would be outrage and people in the streets. There weren't. In fact, it just dropped in the bucket of many of the other injustices that were brought about by what happened during COVID. It wasn't explored. Papers haven't been written about it. Scholarly articles haven't been written about it. There's a vacuum because they know that if history really examines what happened in COVID, that their flawed philosophy of what the role of government is would be exposed. They can't afford for Americans to see the harm, the reach of the harm that has been caused by COVID, by the government response to COVID. I was up there and I remember Governor Gretchen Whitmer of Michigan holding a news conference saying she had saved thousands of lives because of her emergency orders. And I thought, what arrogance. She did that by threatening and arresting people. Our government should recognize that, first of all, fundamentally, the power rests with individuals through the Bill of Rights. And secondly, that government should trust that delegation of power and recognize it to the people. She could have held a news conference and said, here's the reality of this. Our understanding is that this virus is truly harmful to people who have comorbidities and are of a certain age. And so we're asking you, be cautious in this regard. And they would have got better compliance than arresting a mother watching a football game. And additionally, their own hypocrisy is revealed, particularly in Pennsylvania, where you saw public health officials direct, and this happened in other places, that people who had COVID coming out of hospitals to free up bed space in the hospitals, we're going to put them in nursing homes, right in the exact population with vulnerable persons. And in Pennsylvania, the public health official who made that order pulled his mother out of the nursing home before they started to place COVID patients there. And Biden later nominated him or her, she's transgendered, to be a national public health official. It's stunning, and that's why watching, to me, last night it almost made you nauseous, watching that testimony, or lack of it.
There's no accountability for what went on, and no accountability either for these vaccines that have caused harm to so many people. I mean, one of the things I didn't realize, I did remember that Fauci took the vaccine and got COVID like the next week or something, the next day. But I didn't realize that he had complications from that vaccine and never told anybody that. So he hid that. And, look, the vaccines was very tough because you had the president pushing it, President Trump. You had Ivanka pushing it, Jared. I mean, I remember, Ivanka getting her shots with her children on TV, and, and it was safe and it was effective or whatever they were selling at the time. And if you took it in New Jersey, you got a shot of bourbon free. And if you took it in New York, you got a hamburger and fries for free. I mean, you got to remember all that stuff that went on. And you had the president of the United States taking it, many of which we, believed he wouldn't do this if they hadn't flushed this out. And now we find out that, all these people are injured and there's been no accountability for that, Bill.
Yeah, it's stunning. And, my concern in all of this, and yesterday had to happen, and there needs to be more, is that we don't treat.
We lost Phil. Let's get to the phone lines. Let's get to Leonard in Georgia, line 1. Leonard, you're live.
Good morning, John. You were fired up this morning, buddy. There's two things that fired me up also. Cockroach fallacy. You were talking about the scriptures, and Jesus says, God forgive them, for they don't know what they're doing. That cockroach knew what he was doing. And then your other quick point you were making about Mondami and doxing. Mobs do not help anybody. When they show up at your house, I had it happen to me. It's bad news. I'm not sure if Professor Klein's back on, but ask him about doxing and mobs.
Well, you can ask him. He's back on. Go ahead, ask him.
Professor Klein, good morning. This is Leonard from Georgia, buddy.
Hey, Leonard. Good to hear your voice.
Yes, sir. Good to hear you. The smartest man in the world that I know of other than John Fredericks. Besides, John talked about doxing earlier. When you get doxed and the mob shows up at your house, is that a good thing or a bad thing, Professor?
I didn't understand what he said, John. I'm having problems on this.
He's asking about doxing. Mondami is now doxing homeowners that have a home that is they value at over $5 million. That they really shouldn't have that. It's too much money, too much wealth, and it should be taxed away.
Totalitarian regimes and governments that want to exercise authority over all aspects of your life are dependent on that type of attitude existing within their population. Not the attitude that reports a crime that harms another individual, but an attitude that reports to the government anything that is acted upon by the other or something that they do that is inconsistent with their cultural beliefs. And unfortunately, there's a real strong effort to create that environment in the United States. You see it arising through things like compelled speech. I remember standing on the Kansas House floor in 1994 and standing against a hate crime bill. What I said at the time is, look, every crime of violence against another human being is a crime of hate. Every rape is a crime of hate. Every burglary is a crime of disrespect for the individual's liberty and being able to have the fruits of their own labor. All of these crimes already have penalties. When you start creating hate crimes and safe spaces, you're starting to compel a certain cultural view, and you're imposing criminal liability beyond just reasoning towards that end, that we should not have hate. We can't give government that power. Well, we have given government that power. And because of that, everybody believes they can run the other person's life. And all of us are thin-skinned, walking around as victims, trying to put the other person in jail or in jeopardy so we can feel better about ourselves. That's not a free state. That's not a government that protects liberty. If our nation is not peopled by individuals who are willing to protect the freedom of those they disagree, we will not be free. And so we need to have a resurgence of this understanding and defeat this nanny state and this leftist theology and philosophy that believes government is God.
We need to get Phil to guest host my show one of these days coming up. Give me a day off because you got a lot to say and you can take calls and you're fired up. Both of us are a little fired up today. Thinking about, remember the snitch line they had in Minnesota?
Oh.
Snitch line?
Yeah. Yeah.
You'd snitch on your neighbor. Like, this is what the Soviets did. This is what the Stasi did. This is what
East Germany. You could go on and on. It's what China does with social media now and technology.
You get a check mark on your social media if you snitch on a neighbor, that they had, 3 people for a barbecue in the backyard. Oh, by the way, we have a mayor in Los Angeles candidate, the Democratic Socialist Communist candidate, that's running on a platform. One of them things she wants to do was ban backyard barbecues.
That's what they believe, that they will fix everything in life if only they have all of your wealth and all of your power.
Because somewhere, sometime in history, a backyard barbecue caused a fire. Therefore, all backyard barbecues under her administration will be banned. And if you try to do one, well, then you'll be arrested.
Because they're not taking care of their forests. Government creates the problem, and then government takes power to fix the problem by expanding the problem to justify taking more power.
No backyard barbecue for you. No hot dog for you. No. You will eat ramen noodles.
Yeah, well, I bet you Newsom has his backyard barbecues regardless.
In between his visits to French restaurants with his family.
Yeah.
Phil Klein, thank you. People want to follow you, Phil. Where do they go?
Hashtag Phil D. Klein.
Let's go. I got to get you to guest host for me one day. I'll take a day off at the Fräulein. Thank you, Phil.
I'll do it. I didn't hear what day, but let's talk.
I'm going to send you something when I get off the air.
All right.
Dan will enjoy it. I got to take a day off.
You deserve it.
Thank you. We're going to be right back here in the John Fredericks Media Network with your calls at 888-480-JOHN, 888-480-5646. Keep it right here. The truth will set you free.
728 Trump 2.0 is in full effect. How do you keep up with all the action? I'll tell you. TrumpNationNews.com is your inside source for the inside scoop. Manufacturing, jobs, deportations, and the nation's rejuvenation. The first 100 days and beyond. All the news you need and no liberal gibberish. It's the perfect way to start your day. Sign up for the TNN newsletter. Do it today. TrumpNationNews.com. TrumpNationNews.com. Part of the John Fredericks Media Network.
Washington is wasting $500 million every year on a federal supervision system that doesn't work. Probation officers are overwhelmed. Resources are going to people who pose zero threat, while actual dangerous individuals slip through the cracks. The Safer Supervision Act stops the waste and refocuses every dollar on protecting families from harm. President Trump's own pollster found about 80% of Trump voters want this fixed. It's time for Congress to get this done. Stop the waste. Protect our communities. Visit safersupervision.com. Paid for by the Reform Action Fund.
Ponder this. Most people want to have a good day every day. In order to do this, we must start our day with gratitude and keep an attitude of gratitude throughout the day. I offer you my recipe for having a great day and a joyful life. First, start each day being grateful that the Lord has given you another day to serve Him. Roll yourself out of bed, get on your knees, and say a morning prayer of thanksgiving. Ask the Lord to help you throughout the day to do whatever His will is for you. Next, thank God for the little things that make your day better. I thank Him immensely for my morning coffee and for my legs that allow me to take a morning walk. I pray for those who cannot walk because of age, injury, or disability. Throughout the rest of the day, I am grateful for the people God has placed in my life. I thank Him for those who love me, and I pray especially for those who do not love me. Find ways in your day to thank God continually and offer prayers for all those the good Lord has placed in your daily path. I'm Susie Kelly, and I am passionately Catholic.
This is Crom Carmichael, CEO of Solti. We got a wonderful email from one of our customers up east named Joe, and here's what he had to say. I started taking Solti almost out of desperation with little hope because I was resigned to the futility that although I was up to taking 2 statins a day, high cholesterol was something I just had to learn to live with. In fact, when I turned 60, after taking a stress cardio test, my doctor called me on a Saturday, which of course is never a good sign, and told me that I was clogged more than 95% of the people my age. I had an angioplasty and a stent procedure done at that time. Today, my stubborn triglycerides are only 1/3 of what they had been before starting taking Solti. My prescription statin dosage has shrunk from 60 milligrams to only 10 milligrams a day. My primary care doctor that I have had for many years still can't believe the results, and neither can I. Thank you, Solti, for providing such a wonderful product. And folks, I want to invite you to take care of your heart also by going to GodzillaHeart.com. That's GodzillaHeart.com. Use the code Godzilla at checkout, and you'll get a 50% discount on your initial shipment. Thanks so much.
Now more than ever, it's imperative to support companies that share our conservative values. That's why I can't be more excited to tell you that I've switched my family to Patriot Mobile. Patriot Mobile is America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. When you switch to Patriot Mobile, you shift your support away from the leftist, woke, progressive agendas of Big Mobile. Patriot Mobile's wireless service works perfectly and seamlessly as you go about your lives with exceptional nationwide coverage that uses the same towers the main carriers use. Patriot Mobile donates a portion of every dollar earned to causes you care about, to organizations that fight for religious freedom, First and Second Amendments, sanctity of life, and the needs of veterans and first responders. Patriot Mobile has plans to fit any budget, along with great discounts for our veterans and first responder heroes, as well as multi-line users. Switching is easy. Just go to patriotmobile.com/Godzilla or call their U.S.-based customer service team, 972-PATRIOT. That's 972-728-7468. Use offer code Godzilla for free activation.
Socialism failing to work as it always does, this time in Venezuela. You talk about giving everybody something free, and all of a sudden there's no food to eat. And who do you think is the richest person in Venezuela? The daughter of Hugo Chavez. Hello. Anyway, 0-2.
He's your Godzilla of the truth in America.
It's Godzilla!
No gibberish or nonsense, just common sense. And now back to the John Fredericks Show.
You know, it's unbelievable, that clip you played by Vince Scully, right? This was during the World Baseball Series, but actually this was a game. He had said that again during that, but this was just a game between Milwaukee and Los Angeles, and in 2022, and he was talking about Venezuela. I mean, it's unbelievable how many clips you can get from baseball. And all right, let's talk about what is going on here in Iran for a second. A couple of things I want to get to, Dan. More bombing last night. I want to get to General Jack Keane, who I'm now agreeing with 100%. The sooner we return to major combat operations, the better. We had more attacks last night. I don't think these should be abetted. There's no negotiation. They're never going to come to the table. The only thing these people understand is you continue to bomb them, and then they say, we're going to negotiate, and then you stop, and then they move things around. Just keep bombing them, but you got to take Karg Island. This is what Jack Keane has been saying. I agree with him. Let's get to number 21. Jack Keane, take a listen.
Jack Keane joins me now. So are we negotiating away full control of the strait? Because that wouldn't be a win, would it?
No, I can't imagine us doing anything like that, Stuart. Look, we got to open the Straits of Hormuz. If we're not going to be able to do it through negotiation, we got to do it by force. And let's look at where we really are. Right. I mean, last night Iran, using 5 of their best ballistic missiles, attacked a U.S. base where soldiers were killed. Their intention of doing here was to kill U.S. soldiers. That's what they did last night. They also attacked shipping in the Gulf. They also are using the Iranian-backed proxies in Iraq who have attacked us over 30 times in the last couple of days, and the Houthis are on the attack, being pushed by Iran to do so. What is that telling us about our situation here in dealing with Iran? Certainly, anybody thinking that negotiations is going to be the pathway forward has got to come to grips with what reality is here. Iran is not going to make a deal with us that would satisfy us. The reality is we've got to reassess where we are. Escalating against Iran, which is what we've been doing day by day based on their attacks, is not working. It's obvious what we must do is return to major combat operations, Stuart. And the sooner we get on with that, the better.
Can I just throw this in? President Trump told Fox this morning Iran is going to get a beating. Does that include eliminating the leadership of the Revolutionary Guard? Because the CENTCOM said this morning that it was the Revolutionary Guard that fired those missiles at our troops. So will our president respond by knocking off the leadership of the Revolutionary Guards?
Well, I don't think we should be. It may be a major attack over what we've done in the past, but that's tit for tat. That's a gradual escalation. I think we have to do a comprehensive attack against them. And what am I really talking about? Start with one, quarantine the country. What do I mean by that? Shut down all the roads and rails in and out. Shut down all airports and all ports in and out of the country. Isolate Iran. And number 2, yes, we have got to conduct all-out attacks on the IRGC, their leadership. We have to massive attacks on ballistic missiles and drones. Everything that's driving this country to retaliate against us needs to be attacked from an organizational perspective and also, obviously, from weapons itself. That needs to be done. And the sooner we recognize that, I think, Stuart, the better.
Oh, how'd my tie get up there? Oh, my no. Listen, saying you're going to attack, just attack. I mean, they're desperate for a deal. They want a deal. We're going to attack them. I don't really know what all this talking does. Honestly, I'm sure the president has his reasons for this. Maybe he thinks it's, helping in the negotiations. But the last time that I saw something where somebody did too much talking rather than shooting was this famous scene we're going to play. This is Eli Wallach taking a bubble bath in the good, the bad, and the ugly. Take a look. Dan, you got to save that clip. When you got to shoot, don't talk. Eli Wallach, for those listening to on the radio who don't remember that scene, he was in a bathtub with bubbles in it, and this guy came in to shoot him, and he just started blabbing away about something. And Eli Wallach had a 6-shooter with 6 bullets in it under the bubbles and shot the guy 6 times and blew him away. Then he says at the end, if you got to shoot, don't talk. All right, Dan, that is a classic. Speaking of classics, Dan, Colonial Downs can't make it this weekend, going to a wedding, but normally I would go there. But today is Thursday. That means that Colonial Downs is racing. They're racing Thursday. They're racing Friday. They're racing Saturday and Sunday. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, Colonial Downs, the greatest racetrack in America, the most beautiful. All kinds of action on Sunday for the kiddies. Bring your family. Bring them out there. You're going to have so much fun. Parking free. General admission free. Yeah, you can get a box seat. Now, the food there is phenomenal. The racing is great. And what I love about it is it's one of the only racetracks in America where you can get right down by the paddock. You can see the horses come out when they come out for the races. You can see them by the rail. There's a lot of railbirds there. It's a lot of fun. The most beautiful racetrack in America, especially with those turf courses they have. Very competitive races. I just enjoy it so much. You're going to love it there. It's a great outing for your family. Have fun, win money. Now, if you don't want to, spend the day playing the horses like Ann, well, they got the slot machines downstairs. You can do that. You can win money there. Then for me, they've got the sports book upstairs right? They got that going on. Plus, they got OTB. You can bet on any track. You can bet the baseball game. You can do whatever you want. But it's all about having fun. Having fun, win money. That's really the key. And the food there is fantastic, and it's all reasonable. So it's a great outing for your family. They're going to love the horses. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, Colonial Downs, post time, 12:30, parking free, general admission, everything is free. It's all fun. So just have fun there. Take your family. You're going to thank me later. You're really going to enjoy it. It's just a great place. And 20 minutes west of Richmond, about an hour east of Richmond, about an hour west of Virginia Beach. And with an easy pass, about 2 hours and 10 minutes from Washington, D.C. Greatest, most beautiful track in America. Take your family there. Post time, 12:30, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. More information, go to colonialdowns.com. That's colonialdowns.com. And you're going to enjoy that when you go. My horse that is there, which is Baytown Parfait, doing better. He has a workout, Dan, on I think on Sunday, because we're not going to be there. I'm at a wedding. My cousin's youngest son getting married in Eastern PA, Westchester, I think, is where it is. So Ann and I going there, of course, Friday afternoon. Looking forward to that. I'll be in the White House pool rotation on Monday. Just got notice of that, so that's going to be fun. Maybe we'll do some of our show from there. Monday's a long time off. We don't plan that far out in this company. God knows what's going to happen between now and then, Dan. Let's go to 18. Here's another communist running for Senate. This guy, this jihadist, whatever he is, Muslim guy, Abdul al-Sayed, another communist. And he says, we got to fire all the people in ICE. Just fire them all. Get rid of it. No ICE, no jails. We don't need any of that in America. We just get illegals here. They can vote for us so we can have power, and then we'll take all your stuff. And, if you have a house over $5 million, well, you didn't earn that. That's too luxurious. We can take that and sell it off, and you can live in an apartment, and we can give that to our illegal friends that vote for us and keep us in power. And yeah, maybe your daughter gets raped, but it's for the greater good. I'm being facetious, but this is basically what they say. They don't care. As long as they get power, victims don't matter. Violence doesn't matter. As long as they get power, it's for the greater good. Yeah, I said it, and you know it's right. 18, take a look.
ICE as a way of demonizing immigration itself. ICE itself has become a rogue agency based on a premise that is inconsistent with both the Constitution and the ideals of our country. We don't need it. In fact, we didn't have it before 2002. America's a lot older than 2002. So the notion that we can't protect our southern border or we can't enforce immigration policy without ICE is just not true. You get rid of the agency, you fire all the people in it, and then you ask yourself, what would you want to build that actually achieved the goals that we have?
This guy is going to win, He is going to be the Senate nominee from Michigan. Look at him sitting there with all his friends, right? Another jihadist with the, hoodie on or whatever they have jihadis on. Get rid of ICE, get rid of jails. Vote us in. We're going to take the money, and we're going to take that money, plus we're going to take money from homeowners, and we're going to give it to you. See, this is their message. This is their affordability message. See, affordability has turned into tax the rich, give money to people that don't have as much money. Until you run out of money, then we riot. Till we take everything they have because they don't deserve it. And our response to that is to go on vacation. Our response is a vacation. It's unbelievable. Let's get to Rob in Richmond, line 2. Rob, you're live.
Hello, John. Next chance you get, ask Professor Klein about a Supreme Court case in 1915 called Burdick v. U.S. Because as I understand it from my reading of the decision, is that preemptive pardons are invalid. meaning that since Fauci hadn't been charged with a crime, he hadn't been arrested, he hadn't been indicted, that Biden's auto pen pardon is more than likely invalid, and that if Fauci actually did commit a crime that can be proven in a court of law beyond a reasonable doubt, that he could be prosecuted. And it's just something, that I would like to take and get Professor Klein's opinion on as to whether or not, it's true or not. So,
Well, Rob,
now
I'll
with
tell you what,
regard to Iran,
I'm
go
going to
ahead.
get him. I'm going to get him the guest host for me, Dan. We'll when we're off the air, we'll pick a day. I need a day off. I don't have anything specific to do. I just need a day off. So we're going to get Professor Klein to sit in for me, and then you can call up and ask him that question because I'll forget. How's that sound, Rob?
That sounds good. Now, as far as Iran goes, I've been waiting 47 years for a president to take action against Iran. We did a great job, to start out. At this point, what needs to happen is that we need to keep cutting the heads off of this Hydra, keep chopping them down one by one by one by one, working with Israeli intelligence. I hope that they get involved with us again, because, in 1979, when the IRGC and those so-called students stormed the U.S. Embassy, they were actually committing an act of war. Our people were not hostages. They were, in fact, POWs. And until Reagan threatened them, they were going to hold them. And then they got afraid of him, and they're like, okay, well, we better let these people go. But they committed an act of war, and we've been at war with them, and now we finally have a president that is willing to do something about it. They weren't hostages. No, but we were coming out of the malaise of Vietnam, Watergate, and everything else that was going on, and nobody really had a stomach for it. So, but now we've got a little something. Maybe Trump can make something happen, and he keeps talking about negotiations because it makes it to where it sounds like he's being reasonable in the media. Well, he's trying to talk to him. Well, I'm pretty sure that after, Trump's dealings with, the Teamsters and, corrupt construction people up in New York City and all that stuff, that he knows, people that will keep a deal and won't keep a deal. I don't think he's naive thinking that they're going to keep a deal. I think he's just biding time, and he's going to pump them again, and I just hope that he gets the job finished.
I'm with you. I think we need to finish the job now, and I've gone full circle on this. I think we need to finish the job. That's the only way out of this. That's the only way we win the midterms. I think if he cuts this thing off and we have control of the straits and it's a permanent solution and it's not a stupid, fragile MOU that, is not worth the paper it's written on with these people because they're liars, I think the electorate is going to reward the president for that with a victory in the midterms. I really do. But the way we're going now is the tit for tat. I also agree with General Keane. The kind of tit for tat is just going nowhere. They attack us, we attack them. That the hell's that do? Take them out, get rid of them, end this thing, and end it now, and take over Carg Island, and then take control of the straits, and now you have a permanent solution. And I think the Americans are smart. They're gonna figure this out. Right? And then oil prices start to come down and we forget about it, right? Nobody remembers when gas was $5 under Biden. Nobody remembers that. All they know is what they're paying for gas today. The American electorate is very fickle. All they care about is today, not what they were doing under Biden in 2023. So thank you. Let's get to, thank you, Rob. Let's get to Paul in Georgia. Paul, you're live.
Hey, John. Good morning.
Hey, Paul.
Hey, the thing that drives me nuts with Fauci is he is the perfect emblem of the deep state. He is exactly the deep state. And to think how corrupt this is. 100 years ago, we would have hung this guy from the town square, tarred and feathered. He is protected by the media. The media should be melting down for the way they protected. And then, of course, we've got the pharmaceuticals that are involved in all this. They're all culprits in this cabal, this scheme for Trump to lose the election. And you know, they realized, wow, this thing, isn't this a great idea? Now we could lock everyone up and we could force everyone to do mail-in ballots. Of course, those are so easy to cheat in, and will make Trump lose. And they pulled it off.
That's right.
And now that the truth is coming out, the media is not, they're getting away with it again. And they get away with it with the communists now. This guy, Mandami, the playbook, the communist playbook, the grocery stores, the other grocery stores are going to close up so fast. The margins are so small on these grocery stores. They make pennies. They lose more money than they make on food waste, and with just food going bad, than they do with just the normal run-of-the-mill operation. And once they leave, once a neighborhood now only has one store, the commie store, the lines, like you said, the riots will start. It's just, this is unbelievable, and the media isn't saying anything.
Oh no! They are. They're cheering it on. No, they're cheering it on. The fake news media is like their pom-pom section. Yeah, let's go. Government subsidized grocery stores. Way to go, Mandami. That's how to get prices down. This is the pathway to victory. You have cheaper food until the food runs out and the lines are around the block and nobody can compete with them. And then they can't get anything. And then they need additional stores, which means they need more money because it's all subsidized and they don't get a tax base from it. And so they need money for that. Now they're going to keep going to Hochul, who's their hostage, and she's going to keep giving it until finally the thing implodes. And then the riots start. And then they burn the city down. I mean, this happens every single time. But yet the fake news is waving the pom-poms like they're at a football game. You go, Mandami. Long as you can beat Trump in 2024 and 2026, we're good, just like you said in 2020. Trump is going to win in a landslide without the virus. A landslide. And carry the House and Senate with him. And governorships and state houses. The economy was booming. And so what did they do? They launched a virus. And then they launched mail-in ballots. And then they did the fear thing. And then they got him out. And now he's back. And now they got to go to Mandami. So you nailed everything. But it's not the fake news isn't calling them out. Fake news is their cheerleader. Because they'll get their food somewhere else. They're not dependent on a neighborhood grocery store in the Bronx. You get that, right? They're not dependent on that. They're going to Whole Foods in some suburb in Arlington or Montgomery County. They're going to Trader Joe's. That's where they're going. They don't care. Unbelievable. I'll be right back. You're on the John Fredericks Media Network. DC Dispatch popping in 9 o'clock. Keep it right here.
May be held next week. Watching Wall Street, the Dow futures are up 251 points following yesterday's big sell-off. NASDAQ futures almost 400 points higher. More on these stories, townhall.com.
In the War of 1812, our nation fought and won America's religious freedom. Today, that constitutional right is being assaulted once more from within.
Religious liberty and rights in general were under attack. We all of a sudden became the enemy.
In the important new documentary by Dawn's Early Light, anti-Christian bias is exposed at the highest levels of government.
I got 6 months house arrest, 5 years probation.
I'm sorry, our rights have been suspended? Hard to believe that the instruments of government would ever be used to punish faith.
Follow the sweeping investigation of President President Trump's task force to eradicate anti-Christian bias, the governmental hostility and prejudice is uncovered, and Trump's fight to restore our constitutional liberties and religious freedom.
If we will not be governed by God, we must be governed by tyrants.
Don't miss this powerful new documentary, By Dawn's Early Light, the story behind our national anthem. Share it with your church, family, and friends. For a limited time, watch it free at ByDawnsEarlyLightFilm.com. ByDawnsEarlyLightFilm.com.
Australia's online safety watchdog is taking legal action against the Telegram app for what the watchdog says is a failure to remove terrorist content. The platform allegedly failed to take down videos of mass shootings and gruesome ISIS killings. The United Arab Emirates-based app could face a fine of up to $38 million if convicted. Telegram denies the claims, plans to challenge them in court. The case tests Australia's 2021 law that requires tech platforms to keep illegal materials off their networks. French officials allowing 84,000 evacuees from a massive wildfire in southwest France to return home. The announcement marks a positive turn in the battle against the blaze, which has burned an area 4 times the size of Paris. Over 220,000 people have been forced to flee their homes. Higher humidity and cooler temperatures are raising hopes for relief. News and analysis, townhall.com. Howard University's president says the school is working to re-enroll students who missed a tuition deadline.
The interim president of Howard University, Wayne Fredericks, says over 200 of more than 500 freshmen who were recently unenrolled have been readmitted. He said the school started meeting and speaking with parents and students last week, which led to the re-enrollments. Some students at the historically black university in Washington, D.C. had outstanding balances after their aid and scholarships were applied, while others had incomplete immunization paperwork. Dozens of students had taken to social media panicked about their next steps. Frederick defended the way the school handled the issue, saying they have been clear with students and families, but many apparently misunderstood the financial obligations they were expected to meet, with tuition due by mid-July. Jennifer King, Washington.
The AI boom is boosting Samsung's bottom line. South Korean tech giant Samsung checking in with a record operating profit, $62 billion, April through June. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Van Hillary has fought for America before, and he's ready to do it again. As an Air Force navigator in Desert Storm, Van's mission was simple: chart the course, stay on mission. When he came home to Tennessee, he won an election nobody thought a Republican could win. Then he did it again and again. For almost a decade, America First conservative Van Hillary has fought the radical left, stood with President Trump, and never folded, securing our border, cutting taxes, and bringing jobs to Tennessee.
Radical Democrats are trying to hijack our country. President Trump needs a conservative fighter who knows how to win. I'll keep fighting to help President Trump finish what he started, keeping our border secure, growing our economy, and destroying the woke agenda. I'm Van Hillary, and I approve this message because I'm standing with President Trump to get America back on mission.
America First conservative Van Hillary. He's never folded, and he never will. Paid for by Van for Tennessee.
The Trump administration has brought positive changes when it comes to fixing our broken healthcare system. If we really want to make America healthy again, well, that starts at home. And that's where the Wellness Company comes in. You see and hear from the Wellness Company doctors all the time, and you know their products are the gold standard for keeping you and your family safe and healthy, giving you the opportunity to make sure you're prepared for whatever happens with their prescription medical kits. Additionally, the Wellness Company offers a variety of products, from parasite cleanses to methylene blue to weight loss and so much more. Make America healthy again starts at home. Do your part and protect the health of you and your family. Live a healthier, longer, and more satisfying life. Go to twc.health/Godzilla and order. That's twc.health/Godzilla. Use promo code Godzilla to save 10% today.
Bad decisions limit future options. Make enough bad decisions and you will destroy your life. Listen to The Flatline with your host, Rick Hughes, every Sunday morning on the John Fredericks Radio Network. The Flatline describes a main line of resistance in your soul, built on God's Word. Join us every Sunday morning for 30 minutes of inspiration, motivation, and education, all without manipulation. That's The Flatline with Rick Hughes, heard here every Sunday at 8:30 a.m. on the John Fredericks Radio Network.
Trouble concentrating or recalling information is frustrating, embarrassing, and kills productivity. Nutrition company Healthy Cell created Focus and Recall to boost your brain power. Unlike other supplements that don't work, Focus and Recall is not a pill. It's a gel you swallow with ultra absorption of science-backed ingredients to help you immediately sharpen focus, concentrate longer, and strengthen recall. Go to healthycell.com and use code GODZILLA for 20% off your first order. Risk-free. Love it or your money back. Guaranteed. Healthycell.com. Code GODZILLA.
Hey folks, Al Green here for SatPhone. When you're on the go, you want to know you're connected. If it's a family vacation or an off-the-grid escape to a remote destination, having reliable communication helps you feel safe and secure. You can't afford to find yourself in a dead zone. That's why you need SatPhone. SatPhones are reliable, durable, and give you global coverage. If you can get outside, you can get in touch. It's that simple. Make calls from your SatPhone to any regular cell phone in the United States. The phones are a $1,500 value, but you can get yours free. Just sign up for a 15-month plan, $94.95 a month. Get 150 minutes monthly that roll to the next month. Go 3 months without using them, that's fine. Yes, 3 months, 450 minutes, all yours. Visit SAT123.com or call 855-980-5830. SAT123.com, 855-980-5830. Get surety and security with your sat phone. Call now.
Wagering at its finest, playing at the highest levels, under the highest stakes, for more than a decade. This is the world past the wire has conquered, bringing you uncompromised thoroughbred authority and elite track data that anchors the game. But the modern wagering landscape is expanding. Every sport, every line, every prop, and every high leverage future, we decode the metrics across the entire board. From game day spreads to the explosive new frontier of prediction markets and event contracts, we give you intelligence to dominate the modern financial exchanges. Because in the end, it's a battle. You versus the house. You versus the other players. In this arena, we fight with you. We are your ultimate edge. Welcome to the Ultimate Wagering Network. Subscribe to Past the Wire TV and turn on notifications, because when the dust settles,
nobody does it better.
Live from the studios of the John Fredericks Media Network, it's the John Fredericks Show. Grab yourself a cup of 1775 coffee, sit back, and get ready for the best 4 hours of talk in the universe. To be part of the show, just call our toll-free number, 888-480-5646. And now, here's the Godzilla of Truth, the Oracle of the Deplorables, the man who always says to lace them up and lace them tight, John Fredericks.
Welcome back. I'm your Godzilla of the Truth in America, your Oracle of the Deplorables. Ali Trillo coming up, RNC, Election Integrity, Florida. Big news there. Just want to start today. This segment brought to you by our good friends at the Vapor Technology Association. You know what? Big Tobacco has been trying to put vape out of business forever. President Trump got a huge vape vote. Closing vape businesses would not only result in the loss of revenue for the communities they serve, but the loss of choice for many Americans like me that wanted to quit smoking and had to get there through vape. We should have that choice. And President Trump promised that he would help the vaping industry. We got a huge vape vote out for him. Probably don't even know that. But we have a huge community, those of us that vape or had to vape in order to stop smoking cigarettes, like me, pack and a half a day forever. Couldn't have done there without vape. Want to thank the Vapor Technology Association for that. And look, all they try to do is shut vapors down. Big Tobacco, all they care about is its own market share. The bottom line, they don't care about saving American lives. They care about how much money they make, and they're liars. And they lobby, they go in there with their $20,000 Rolex watches, their $15,000 Armani suits. They pull up in limos from Richmond. Look, been there, done that, right? I get it. But the bottom line is we're just mom and pop businesses trying to survive. More information, check us out. Go to vaportechnology.org, vaportechnology.org, and this message paid for by the Vapor Technology Association. Support vape and tell your congressman, look, we're sick of big tobacco sticking it to us, because all they care about. We want choice, and we want a way to get off the cancer sticks, which is so unhealthy. I'm not saying vape is great, but it's better than those. And it harms children. Oh, you got to be 21. So if you're going to ban vape, ban beer too. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. You got to be over 21. You can't vape. You can't buy a cigarette. You can't get a beer. You can't buy liquor. You got to be over 21, right? It's all good. So just go to get more information, vaportechnology.org, vaportechnology.org, and hopefully we can get my friend Big Dog on, Tony, in a couple of days. So it's all good. 888-480-JOHN. All right, let's get to Ali Triello. Ali, thanks for being with us. Looking forward to having you on today. As always, Ali is the communications director of the Florida Election Integrity Division of the Republican National Committee, among other things that she speaks out on. So, Ali, thanks for joining us today.
Hey, thanks for having me, John. The Election Integrity Communications Director. But Florida is, of course, a state that we want to model nationwide.
I want you to go in detail right now, Ali, about the lawsuit in Florida. The RNC and the Florida GOP are intervening to defend what is basically Florida's SAVE Act. Now, the SAVE Act federally is modeled after the Florida SAVE Act. Can you go into great detail so everybody understands what this is, what the libtards are trying to do, and how we're defeating it?
Yeah, absolutely, John. Listen, Florida is a gold standard when it comes to our elections. Our chairman, Joe Gruters, have served in the state for a very long time. He loves to talk about this, but basically it's common sense. Proof of citizenship to register to vote. You have to show your photo ID. You're accurately removing non-citizens from the voter rolls. These are common sense measures that we believe should be law nationwide, hence the federal Safe America Act. But of course, the RNC and Florida GOP intervened because Democrats, once again, are trying to attack this common sense legislation. And the only reason that they would not want checks and balances on our election system is because they've already admitted and said the quiet part out loud that they believe they cannot win elections fair and square if there are security measures like the SAVE Act in place.
So the lawsuit that we're now involved in, I guess, it was filed by who? The Florida Democratic Party. Who was challenging this?
Yeah, different left-wing groups backed by the DNC. I mean, this is a typical playbook. And listen, we're 100 days out from the midterms, less than that. And I will say the speed at which we are filing these lawsuits and winning, it's quadrupling, it feels like, every single day. Just yesterday, we had 2 major wins in Wisconsin, defeating the DNC, standing up to the way the rules should be enacted. Democrats were trying to use the same old playbook that they used in Maine to try to change the rules to coronate their own person and allow Democrats to re-vote. So there is a lot of foolishness happening from the Democrat Party, but of course, the Republican Party is cracking down, laying down the hammer, as our chairman likes to say, and we're winning.
Ali, I want to get to the SAVE Act overall. President Trump yesterday asked in the Oval Office if he's still had confidence in John Thune. He said kind of his answer was a half answer. It says depending on what he does over the next several days. I know you're the communications director for RNC Election Integrity, but where are we right now on the SAVE Act? It's getting in reconciliation. The parliamentarians are going to throw it out. To your knowledge, what do we do now?
I think what we need to do is continue to put the pressure on our elected officials to pass the Save America Act. President Trump has been extremely clear that this is his top priority to get this into law. Speaker Johnson has done a great job of getting this through the House, and now it's with the Senate. Here at the RNC, while we're not physically on Capitol Hill and able to put these bills into place, we can certainly message around the importance of this legislation. We can do our part with our 165 election integrity lawsuits that are active right now nationwide. We have a proof of citizenship case that's going to go before the Supreme Court next term. So we're fighting from our end, and of course, messaging like hell to get the Save America Act passed.
Ali, tell us about the SCOTUS suit that's going to be coming up next year on proof of citizenship. Give us some insight on that.
Yeah, again, this is a common sense policy that's under attack by the left. Arizona has passed this law for decades now, which is requiring proof of citizenship to register to vote. And the RNC has been defending this for many years. So now we're finally going to go before the Supreme Court to defend this common sense law because as we're doing in Florida and Arizona and so many states around the nation, states have the right to pass this legislation and to defend their elections. And the RNC will not allow Democrats to attack this legislation, and we will make sure it remains law.
So if it were to gain muster and get a positive vote in the Supreme Court, then that would give any state that wanted to take advantage of this the opportunity to do that, right?
You're exactly right, such as Florida with its SAVE Act that we just intervened in this week. So what we are trying to do at the RNC is make sure our voters, the people watching this program this morning, know that we are doing everything we can to defend the ballot box. We are so close to the midterms. We need every Republican to turn out to vote because if Democrats get control of the House or the Senate, it is going to be absolute chaos. All they're going to focus on is impeaching President Trump. They are going to strip away the common sense legislation that Republicans have passed, lowest tax cuts in history, so many other things, a border at zero, stopping illegal immigrants from coming over and harming our nation. So we need to protect America. We need our voters to turn out, and we want them to feel confident that the ballot box is secure, and it is on our watch.
Ali Triolo with us. Ali is Election Integrity Communications Director, Republican National Committee. Ali, you said there's 165 lawsuits that
in 36 states.
In 36 states. Mm-hmm. You just told us about the Florida one. What is the next big one you guys are following out of those 165?
Well, keep your eye out. We're going to have a few today that we'll be filing, but there are a lot of cases that we have done just even this week. Again, I told you securing those wins in Wisconsin, the Florida SAVE Act, and there's a lot on our website. So go to GOP.com and you'll be able to read through the litany of them. But I will say we're taking a look at some non-citizens on voter rolls. So that's maybe a little bit of a hint I can give you.
What is your position on the New Jersey fiasco?
I think it is comical and sad all at the same time. Listen, the RNC and the New Jersey GOP, we already did a public records request over a month ago. I think maybe, John, you and I even spoke about it, where we uncovered these non-citizens on the voter rolls through this DMV loophole. And then over a month later, we have Mikey Sherrill coming out and admitting the truth. So I also want to point out, even worse, it's not just New Jersey where we're seeing this. We're seeing this in so many other target states, quite frankly, like Virginia and other places around the nation. And it is unacceptable that non-citizens are on our voter rolls. There's proof that non-citizens are voting in elections. And what this is really doing, it's canceling out the vote of Americans. President Trump unveiled in his election integrity address just a couple of weeks ago that there are hundreds of thousands of non-citizens on our voter rolls around the country. And we just believe, quite frankly, this is the tip of the iceberg because a lot of people were seeing these non-citizens. They're asking to be removed. So imagine the people that haven't even asked. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. America is the greatest nation on earth, and our elections have been subject to foreign interference because we have legislative officials lying to the president, government officials lying to the president. We have non-citizens on our voter rolls. There are hundreds of countries around the world that have proof of citizenship, photo ID. America is the best country on earth, and there's no excuse that our elections are also not the most secure on earth.
Ali, let me ask you this. Yesterday, I had on a representative that heads up election integrity in the Kentucky legislature, right? Mm-hmm. Just out, his district is just outside of Churchill Downs or just outside of Louisville in the suburbs. And he told me that Kentucky, with him in charge of this, removed, get this, you ready? 850,000 voters off their voter rolls that weren't legitimate voters. Now, I want that number to sink in. Not 85,000 or 8,500, 850,000 voters on Kentucky voter rolls that were not legit. I mean, that is like, and this is Kentucky, a red state. I mean,
No,
what is going on here?
you're exactly right. And states have to follow the law, which is to clean their voter rolls. And by the way, those voter rolls are public record. Recently, the RNC launched the largest ever public records request. We did 48 states and Washington, D.C. to take a look behind the curtain and to cross check and see, are states accurately maintaining the voter rolls like they say, which means removing non-citizens. It means people that have moved are getting taken off those voter rolls. It means that people's dogs aren't registered to vote like we saw in California. I'm sure you remember that story. And this is a vital component of making sure our elections are secure. Ballots cannot be floating around and mailed out to people that don't even live in the state. A huge lawsuit that we have been working on, and we have filed in about 6 states, and also one, such as in North Carolina, is this never resident loophole. Certain states have allowed people that have never lived in the state or sometimes even the country to register and vote in those states. That is against the law, and we are stopping it far and wide. So unfortunately, there are a lot of different issues, but the good news is for our voters, the RNC is aware of them. We're cracking down. We're winning. We're stopping it in court. And we're only going to pick up speed as each minute goes by and we get closer and closer to Election Day.
Well, Ali, I tell you what, and I'm glad you brought up Washington, D.C. Kind of interesting. 2 things about it. Ward 2 chairman here, elected in the Republican Party, but I'm also running for neighborhood commissioner within my jurisdiction. I got to get signatures to get on the ballot. And so, you get the voter list from the Washington Board of Elections, which really does a good job, to be honest. And so about one in, I guess my average is about one in 15 or so doors I knock on that people answer. About 1 in 15, the person that's on the voting roll doesn't live there, which is not that bad, but except if you've got, if you got 600,000 voters, 1 in 15 is a lot. Maybe it's just an anomaly, but that's what I've found. 30 people I've talked to, 2 people that's address and name were on the voting rolls. I knocked on their door, no longer live there. But that person, we mail the ballots out. So just think about this. DC mails out ballots to every registered voter. It's kind of the way our system is. So here in the district. So these are 2 people that I knocked on their door that are going to get a ballot at their home, but it's somebody else's name is on it. And neither of the people that I talked to were registered. So I promised to bring them. One I had a form, the other one I ran out. So I registered them. But they're going to get a ballot with somebody else's name on it in a month, in two months, whenever early voting starts. Well, they're not there. There is nothing stopping them from filling out that ballot, just putting it in their Dropbox. Nobody's ever going to check it. And that's just, if there's 1 out of 20, say, and there's, 500,000 voters in Washington, D.C., do the math. I mean, that's an enormous number, right? It's crazy. Plus in D.C., you can vote. The operatives at the Iranian embassy, if they live in my district, can come in and vote for my opponent. It's crazy. They don't even have to be citizens. All they have to do is show that they live within the area with an electric bill or something.
And this is a major issue and something the RNC stopped in New York City. New York City wanted to allow 800,000 non-citizens on the voter rolls to vote in citywide elections. And we know this is terrible for election security because there's bleed over. And then eventually those people start getting ballots, voting in our federal elections. And then all of a sudden you have almost 1 million people voting for president who don't even live in the United States, or rather are not United States citizens. That is against the law. Full stop. John, I was born and raised in California. I think we've talked about this before. Grew up in a conservative area, but I think from living here in DC, watching what went on in the primary election in California, what happened to Spencer Pratt, we know counting ballots after Election Day, mailing them out to the masses, allowing anybody to have them with no checks and balances. It's terrible for election security. And it's also terrible for the morale of voters. We need Americans to trust elections. And I'll link back to how we started this conversation. In Florida, people know the results of the election on election night. And when they wake up in the morning, those results are still the same. Democrats and Republicans trust the system in Florida. And you know why? Because they have law and order. They have rules like their SAVE Act, where there's photo ID, proof of citizenship. Mail-in ballots have to be received before election day, so those results can be counted by election day and be on time for voters. This is what the RNC is fighting so hard for, and why President Trump is doing everything he can to peel back the curtain, show the fraud, pass executive orders. And at the end of the day, we are very hopeful Congress passes the Save America Act, because that is what our elections and voters deserve.
Well, John Thune would rather go on vacation, Allie, than pass the SAVE Act. That's just the reality of it. It's a sad state of affairs in the clown car called the GOP Senate Conference. I know you can't comment on that, so don't. I'll let you off the hook on that. But I always appreciate you bringing up Bakersfield. Such a great area, and a good friend of mine there, Coach Vince Mayako, baseball coach, 2 decades at Taft College, wanted me to be sure to say hello. He remembers seeing you on TV. I guess you were doing the news there.
I did.
So Taft Junior College, one of the top junior colleges for baseball on the west coast of the United States. So he's like, hey, I remember seeing her on TV in Bakersfield. That's where I live. So tell her hi. Coach Vince Mayako says hi, one of your fans out there.
Thanks.
Let me just say the other thing, and I'll let you go. Like, I've been doing this for 15 years, and RNC has been very, very good to me for a long time. When I first started, I had one little radio station in Norfolk, Virginia, and Sean Spicer would invite me in, and I do my show there through the hard line, POTS line, through a fax machine. I had to go up to the treasurer's office. This is a long time ago. So you guys have been good to me for a very long time, regardless of the chairman. But let me tell you this, I told this to Gruters when he was on the other day, your chairman. The communications department right now at the Republican National Committee is nothing like I've ever seen it. In 15 years of covering it, you guys are doing a miraculous job, top down, from your communications director, Zach, who's doing a super job. Zach's doing a super job. And Molly Safried, the new people you've got in there. I've never seen the communications department at the RNC so effectively staffed and getting your message out every day. And you guys do a super job. It's really the best I've ever seen. And all of them were good. This is just a step above anything I've seen. I just wanted to say that. And I told that to the chairman when I had him on the other day, that you guys are doing a super job. And big shout out to Molly Safried, who basically is our liaison and getting everybody booked on the show. So big shout out to her. You guys are doing a super job. And I think you're going to make a difference.
Thank you, John. The one thing I want to say about that is there is not one moment where we want to wake up after the election and have any regrets. So we are putting the pedal to the metal, and we're going to win.
You miss Bakersfield?
Yes, but I love Washington too.
Do you live in the district?
I do.
Where do you live? General area.
I can't put this out on live television.
Just tell me the ward.
I live near the Capitol.
All right, you're not my ward, so you can't vote for me.
I can give you good vibes for it.
Give me good vibes. Thank you. Living by the Capitol. Me, I'm in Ward 2, right by the White House. Both of us now live in the safest, cleanest, most beautiful city in America. Right. Let's keep it that way. DC Dispatch at 9, home rule. See ya. Allie, thanks for being with us. People want to follow you. Where do they go?
They can go to Allie Triolo, but I really want them to follow RNC Vote Protect on X. That is where all of our election integrity information goes. So thank you.
What is it? At RNC what?
Vote Protect.
At RNC Vote Protect. At RNC Vote Protect. I'm going to go follow that now as soon as I go to a break at RNC Vote Protect. Allie, thank you. We'll be right back with your calls, 888-480-JOHN.
And probably the greatest challenge in today's modern world. It starts by selecting a spouse who puts God and family first. Then, trust in God's birth control plan, where parents are open to life and provide a sanctuary of faith for their family. Allow God, the author of life, to plan your family. I'm Susie Kelly, and I am passionately Catholic.
Trump 2.0 is in full effect. How do you keep up with all the action? I'll tell you. TrumpNationNews.com is your inside source for the inside scoop. Manufacturing, jobs, deportations, and the nation's rejuvenation. The first 100 days and beyond. All the news you need and no liberal gibberish. It's the perfect way to start your day. Sign up for the TNN newsletter. Do it today. TrumpNationNews.com. TrumpNationNews.com. Part of the John Fredericks Media Network.
Everybody's talking about weight loss injections because the results are so dramatic. They work by lowering blood sugar and reducing appetite. So, what if you're looking to lose weight but not interested in painful weekly injections, especially when you hear about some of those intense side effects? That's why doctors created a weight loss supplement called Lean, and the results are remarkable. The ingredients studied in Lean have been shown to lower your blood sugar, burn fat by converting it into energy, and curb your appetite and cravings, so you're not as hungry. But listen, Lean is not for the casual dieter with only a few pounds to lose. The doctors at Brickhouse Nutrition created Lean for frustrated dieters with 10 or more pounds to lose. Get started with 20% off and free rush shipping so you can add Lean to your healthy diet and exercise plan. Go to takelean.com and enter the code Godzilla for your discount. That's discount code Godzilla at takelean.com.
Folks, this is Crom Carmichael, CEO of Solti. I have recently turned 77 years old. I do not take prescription drugs. I have not had to take prescription drugs, and I attribute a lot of my good health to a product that I've been taking, which is the active ingredient in Solti. It's a 22% concentration of theaflavin. We did clinical trials on it 25 years ago and found that it helped lower cholesterol. We have had many hundreds of letters and emails from customers telling us how it has helped them not only manage their cholesterol, but lower their triglycerides and help them on their blood pressure. And I can't tell you how much I attribute to Solti for my good health at age 77. And I encourage you to go to GodzillaHeart.com. That's GodzillaHeart.com. And use the code Godzilla at checkout, and you'll get a 50% off on your initial shipment of Solti. And I promise you it will be a great help for your heart health. Thanks so much.
And they're off. This summer, the Thunder returns to Colonial Downs Racetrack. Live thoroughbred racing June 25th through September 7th. Feel the excitement. Hear the roar of the crowd. Experience Virginia's premier horse racing destination every Thursday through Sunday all summer long. Bring the whole family for Family Fun Sundays, packed with activities for all ages. Parking? Free. General admission? Free. Memories? Priceless. Make Colonial Downs Racetrack your new summer fun time tradition. Get tickets and race day info now at colonialdowns.com.
I am here because Washington needs fighters, and Graham Plattner is the fighter we need. You bet. I said to myself, that's my kind of man.
Don't touch that dial. You've found your home of the truth.
Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
With the best analysis in America.
You can't handle the truth.
Now back to the John Fredericks Show.
All right, you got him. Great to have you with us. I'm your Godzilla of the Truth in America, coming to you live from Washington, D.C., my kind of man. Let's go to the phone lines. Then we got John McGuire in. Let's go to Dave in Arizona. Dave, you're live. Go.
Thanks so much, Godzilla. I appreciate taking the call.
Sure.
So I wanted to let it rest and ruminate a couple days, the whole Fauci thing. And I'm not really focused on Fauci. I'm focused on the Republicans. So they've had 5 years to tee up this football, right? And what did we get this week? Performative art again, right? If Hawley's going to cite Supreme Court cases from 100 years ago, if they're going to talk about, if Rand Paul's going to talk about, well, you don't have the right to take the Fifth Amendment because you've got a presidential pardon, Why didn't they have the sergeant at arms lock up Fauci fraud and put him in the jail underneath the Capitol? Like, what are we doing? This is all just performative art. They all want sound bites to go on Fox News. It's just ridiculous. Our entire government is completely and wholly unserious.
Yes, 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 and yes. And then when you nominate Darlene Graham and then endorse her for Senate, and she's yet to answer a question about where she stands on anything, the unseriousness of the GOP Senate conference gets even worse. Maybe she's going to be a great senator. Maybe she'll be the next, I don't know, Ted Cruz, Mike Lee. I don't know. But the key thing is here, I don't know. I have no idea. I know what I get with Pam Evitt. I know what I get with Ralph Norman. I don't know what I get with this young lady because I don't know her. And she's refused to answer a single question, and they won't put her in front of the media except on Fox News, TV for stupid people, to basically ask her if she'd like a cold soft drink or a hot cup of coffee, what her favorite ice cream is. Talk about her children, talk about her family, talk about her brother. They never asked her. Save Act. What do you think? Parliamentarian. Would you fire her? Filibuster. Would you get rid of it? Never said a word. Go figure. So I'm with you on this one, dude. I thought yesterday was just another clown car in the U.S. Senate. Totally. 100%, Dave. You nailed it. Let's get to, thank you, Dave, for the call and for the insight. Spot on. Let's get to John McGuire, Congressman, Republican, 5th District. John, great to have you with us.
Great to be on, John. How are you?
I'm so happy you're here. I know you're normally out there shaking hands and waving signs. You got an election coming up on, when is it?
Tuesday, but who's counting?
You got an election on Tuesday. You're running against a rhino libtard that they've put money in. The leftists put money in basically to make you spend money in campaign in order to soften you up, so to speak, against your fall opponent, former congressman there. But they don't understand John McGuire. All this did was fire you up more, get you out more, make you knock on more doors, wave more signs, talk to more people, build a bigger volunteer army, raise more money. So it's going to blow up in their face. You're going to win big Tuesday, but you got to get your voters out, John, because apathy is your enemy.
Yeah, it's all about get out the vote. You know, I was in the Oval Office with President Trump just about 3 weeks ago, maybe 2 weeks ago. And the president asked me, John, what's going on in your district? I said, well, we got a big primary in Virginia right now, and no one knows about it. So he went like this to a couple of folks. And next thing you know, I get a text from the president. He sends me a video. He says, go ahead and share this video. And it was a really nice video. It's a video of President Trump telling everybody I've been with him since day one, pro-gun, Christian, conservative, MAGA all the way. So we've been running that on TV and everything else. But it doesn't mean that, you know, we're going to have a big turnout. So I'd ask everybody with much respect, we need your prayers, number one, but call, text, email your friends in Virginia, Tuesday, primary day.
Tell me about, I think you're going to win Tuesday, no doubt about it. You've always got a rhino running against you, or you get some Bob Good person. But let's get to the fall, where you've got a race because you're facing a former congressman. Now, when he was there, you know, he was pro-Second Amendment. He tried to campaign as somewhat of a moderate, but now he's gone, you know, completely DSA, Democrat, Socialist, Communist. How do you see that race shaping up, John, in the fall?
Sure. First, let me go back to the primary. The crazy thing about this race that you're talking about is my primary opponent's staffers are never Trumpers. One of them got kicked out of a Trump rally. I mean, you can't make this up. And then, of course, she's saying that she's all about Trump. So you know how it is in politics. They say one thing and do another.
Right.
But yeah, I think the big thing in the general election is going to be common sense versus communism crazy. I mean, everything that every American person would want, the Democrat leadership is against it. Open borders, all Americans want a secure border. But if they get power again, they're going to reopen it. We all want the SAVE Act, the Save America Act. Democrat, Republican, Independents believe only American citizens should vote in a U.S. election, but we can't get that passed to save our life. It's the craziest thing. But my presumptive Democrat opponent, he's got a primary on Tuesday as well. We expect it. Perriello will prevail. When he ran as a Democrat in Virginia's 5th district, like you said, he said he was pro-gun, pro-life, But then when he primaried Northam for governor of Virginia, he apologized for saying he was pro-life, and he said that the NRA is a bunch of nut jobs. So he's a flip-flopper, political opportunist, and he worked for George Soros. He was the president, I believe he was the president of the Open Society for years. I mean, and those guys are all about open borders and all that woke stuff. So it's going to be a heck of a battle.
John, this just in, breaking news. According to the Wall Street Journal, U.S. economic growth slowed to 1.5% in the second quarter, falling short of economists' expectations. Do you have any comment on that?
I'd just say, it's hard, it can be tough, but we passed the work and family tax cut. It put jet fuel in this economy. President Trump has negotiated almost $20 trillion back into our country, $20 billion in Virginia's 5th congressional district that I represent. So we are building jobs, bringing factories home. It takes a while to turn a ship around, but President Trump has a backbone. I'm with him. I'm with his all-star administration. This House of Representatives, we've got to grow our majority. We got a few folks that seem to want to vote with the Democrats all the time, but we got to pass the Save America. We got a lot of work to do. So we got to win on Tuesday, and then we've got to win the midterms, because if we don't win the midterms, it's going to be impeach, and a bunch of chaos.
John, you're a former Navy SEAL, spent a lot of time overseas, fought in several of our wars. What is your position now in Iran? What should we do?
Well, I think that our team is doing the right thing. This is a ideology of death. They've killed American soldiers and citizens for over 50 years. When they had 40,000 people have a different opinion in their country, they killed them. And you look at their strategy to defend their nation is attack their allies. If they got a nuclear weapon, they would use it. And I was talking to somebody earlier. They said, well, what about the midterms? Should Trump just get out of Iran? And I said, you have to make a decision, political expediency or what's right for the world. And President Trump has a backbone. He's doing what's right for the world. And President Trump should be vindicated. For years, he's been saying that they have the ability to hit U.S. soil, Paris or London, and people laughed. And then in Diego Garcia, you saw him, that he could hit Paris, London, or American soil, like he's been saying. And of course, even though we destroyed their ability to enrich uranium, even the Iranians admit that they had enough left over to build 10 or 11 nuclear bombs. And I asked Pete Hegseth in Armed Services Committee a few weeks ago, I said, if one of these ballistic missiles with a nuclear weapon hit Paris or London or American soil, will it kill 100 people, 1,000 people, or 1 million people? And he said more like 1 million. So thank God President Trump has a backbone. He is doing the right thing, even though it's not politically expedient, to keep the world. I think he's not just making America great again, he's making the world great again, and I support him.
John, let me just be sure I got what you said. We're with John McGuire, Congressman, 5th District, Virginia, Republican. His primary re-election to get renominated is on Tuesday, August the 4th, so be sure and vote in that. And then he'll be squaring off with one of the Democrat libtards in the fall. John, let me be sure I understand what you said. You said you talked to Hegseth, and he said that one of the reasons we went in there is because he had intel saying that the Iranians were getting very close to the ability to produce and deploy 10 to 11 nuclear warheads. Is that what I heard?
Well, let me be clear. So I asked him in Armed Services Committee because Iran said, now this is Iranian words, they said they have, even though we destroyed their ability to enrich uranium, they already had enough produced to create 10 or 11 nuclear warheads. But then the world was saying that those ballistic missiles can't reach anywhere to do any real damage. But Trump was saying for over a year that they could reach Paris or London or U.S. soil, and nobody believed him. And then we saw evidence of that ballistic missile shot down over Diego Garcia, which proved that they have the range to do what President Trump said they had. And so what I asked Pete Hegseth is, I said, hypothetically, if they were to get one of those nuclear bombs on one of those ballistic missiles, could it kill 1 million people? And he said yes. So thank God we got in there and stopped him. And here's the thing, the danger was too great to wait. You know, President Trump stopped he had 8 peace deals in like 8 months. He wants to be the president of peace. He didn't want to go into Iran, but he saw the evidence and the danger was too great. They were building this ballistic missile wall that was so great, they could build a nuclear weapon, do whatever they want, and no one could stop them. So we had to stop them now, or we would not be able to stop them later. And so you can't negotiate with them. I'm personally, in my personal opinion, skeptical you can negotiate with this death ideology. We got to finish the job.
I'm with you on this. I've done a 180 on it. I think you got to finish the job. I'm 100% with you. You've served over in that region, Navy SEAL. You get it, John. Wounded in battle, so we get all that. But the bottom line is,
I wounded, but I hear you.
I don't like the tit for tat. They bomb us, we bomb them. They attack a base. I just think you finish the job, John. You just finish it and be done with it. And by the way, I said you were wounded in battle. You were not. I got you mixed up with someone else. But you did fight very hard for your nation. Should we take Carg Island? What are the next steps here?
Yeah, I'll leave that up to the experts. I got to tell you, we have the most incredible military in the history of our country. I mean, what they are achieving, like you think about getting Maduro, getting in, get out, didn't lose any helicopters, any personnel. These men and women are amazing. And, I was with Pete Hegseth in Norfolk when the USS Gerald Ford came in from a record deployment. And when he and I went around shaking hands of Marines and sailors, and they were so motivated. They said, if our country asked us to turn around and do another 11 months, we would do it. Morale is up, recruitment is up, and it's just, we're making a lot of progress despite the media tearing everything apart. This president and this Secretary of War and General Kane, Raising Kane, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. I mean, they've got a great team of people that are keeping the American people safe at home and abroad. And I'm glad to be on the Armed Services Committee and making sure that our war fighters have what they need to win the fight and return home safe.
Well, John, there's no negotiation with these people. I agree with you 100%. We just need to get in there and finish the job, open up these straits, take control of it, gain a permanent solution. They've been killing us since, almost 5 decades now, 47 years. And President Trump is finally the first one that said he's had enough. But I don't think I'm not interested in an MOU or any of this other stuff because it doesn't hold, because they're liars. And so as soon as they sign it, it's not worth the paper it's written on. Then they deny they signed it, even though he got their signature. They deny they signed it, and then in 24 hours, they break it. So
it's a history. If you think about, it's a different region, but you remember right after the Revolutionary War, we got into the Barbary Pirate Wars, and every nation in the world was paying crazy ransoms.
Right.
But Thomas Jefferson said, no, we're not. And President Trump has the spirit of our founding fathers, standing strong with a backbone to protect the American people and our interest. And like I said, I don't think he's just making America great again. He's making the world great again. He's showing people how to lead, how to have a backbone.
Exactly. And Barbary pirates are a great analogy because Thomas Jefferson said, we have a navy, we have cannons, we have bigger guns, we have more men, and we're just going to go out there and find them and sink them all. And he did, and that was the end of it.
Great history. I used to read those books when I was a kid.
John McGuire, people want to follow you. Got a big campaign day coming up. Early voting has started. Vote John McGuire in the 5th District. People want to follow you in Virginia. John, where do they go?
Well, just remember, Virginia's 5th District, 24 counties, Charlottesville, Lynchburg, Danville, all the way east to Richmond, 800,000 people. You can vote today, 9 to 5, Friday, 9 to 5. You can vote Saturday. The last day early voting is Saturday. And then Election Day is August 4th, Tuesday. Go to McGuireVA.com. That's McGuire VA for Virginia, McGuireVA.com.
McGuireVA.com. John, thanks for being with us, and thank you for your time today. Good luck on Tuesday. We'll have you on Tuesday, Election Day, or Monday. One of those days. We'll look forward to it. We'll see you then. The cusp of a big victory for John McGuire. This is I'm sorry. This is the John Fredericks Show. I'm your Godzilla of Truth. DC Dispatch coming up. We got to set up for that. We'll run a couple of clips and Dan Hobgood to the top of the hour. Take it away, Danny.
MyPillow's second annual mega sale is finally here. Get our patented premium MyPillows that adjust your exact individual needs to give you the best sleep of your life.
When I got MyPillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
I guarantee they're going to be the most comfortable pillows you'll ever own. King size only $24.98, queen size only $19.98. Giza Dream bed sheets, the best sheets in history, as low as $29.98. Lux Pierce 6-piece towel sets, towels that actually dry you. What a concept. Now only $39.98. And our made in the USA mattresses and mattress toppers as low as $99.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to take advantage of our second annual mega sale. Plus, free shipping options available when you order today. So don't delay, order now.
He's your Godzilla of the truth in America.
It's Godzilla!
No gibberish or nonsense, just common sense. And now back to the John Fredericks Show.
All right, folks, this is Dan sitting in temporarily for John here, just while we're setting up for the DC Dispatch. Let's take a look at some of the clips that we haven't played yet today. I want to go through here and just see what's a good one to share with you. Well, here's one with RFK Jr. talking about the COVID shots. And I wanted to get his perspective. We heard earlier from RFK Jr. saying what he thought about Fauci's testimony yesterday. Here's what he had to say about the COVID shots specifically on with Sean Hannity last night.
Now, it has long been all but certain that gain-of-function research in a lab in Wuhan, China, created the COVID-19 virus. Sadly, this was a lab that the U.S. helped to fund. But now new rules at the Department of Health and Human Services, thankfully, are putting an end to this high-risk research. Joining us now with more, HHS Secretary Robert Kennedy Jr. Mr. Secretary, good to have you back. First of all, your reaction to what you saw today.
Well, as you know, Sean, I wrote a book about Anthony Fauci in 2021. It was the biggest selling book of 2021. It sold 1.4 million copies. It was the most heavily censored book. The book chains did not carry it. The New York Times would not even print a paid advertisement for it. The libraries wouldn't carry it. Amazon slow-walked it. Twitter, Facebook, YouTube censored videos about it. And at the same time, it sold a lot. There's 2,500 footnotes. Not a single factual assertion in that book has been challenged. And many of the things that Anthony Fauci took the fifth on today were questions that I had raised in that book. But, the interesting thing is we've spent the last 6 months uncovering these diaries at my agency. So they were buried in 11 different devices. And it took a while for us to get them all. And we handed them over to Rand Paul and to Ron Johnson, who've been doing these extraordinary investigations. Very grateful to them. One of the things that was new to me in his diary was his admission that he got pulmonary infarction in July of 2021 after receiving the vaccine. So he took the Moderna vaccine on national TV, telling in a very, very highly publicized press conference to show people that it was safe. Then he got one of the primary, most expected adverse events, which was potentially deadly blood clots in his lung, myocardial infarction. He kept that secret from the American public, and we only learned about it because of his diary. He was getting the best medical treatment that is available to anybody in the world at Walter Reed and all these other centers. There were doctors fawning over him. Meanwhile, he was telling other people to take this product and concealing the fact that he himself, after announcing this press conference to show it was safe, had actually gotten very, very sick from an injury that was highly expected and highly likely to be caused by the vaccine.
So, yeah, that's very interesting. I'm interested to hear about this myself as somebody who suffered a vaccine injury. I hate even calling it a vaccine. I had gotten COVID at least once by the time that I got the COVID shots, and basically under the pressure that we all were feeling from employment, from the government, locally or nationally, what have you. I wish to goodness I'd never gotten those shots. I received advice from someone who is a family member and a very accomplished medical practitioner, a very accomplished doctor. Basically, I don't have a brother, but if I had a brother, this would be my brother. So I know that he wasn't trying to do me any harm. The fact that he told me that he thought that these vaccines, quote unquote vaccines, these shots were safe, tells me that whatever nefarious goings on were happening, certainly were above his pay grade, because I just know that he would not have tried to injure me or harm me or give me advice that would have resulted in any sort of a physical handicap. So yeah, to hear that Fauci himself suffered from his own shot taking and then hid it from us. I mean, you can't make this stuff up, folks. This is just alarming that we're finding it. The fact, and I don't know why in the world somebody like this keeps a diary. It's sort of like all those James Bond movies where the villain explains his plot to 007. He's like, why is he doing this? Just do it. Why doesn't he just shoot him? It's like there's a certain degree of megalomania. I have to tell the world what I'm up to. And Fauci, I don't know what in the world possessed him to keep this diary. I guess thank goodness for all of us in the interest of the truth that he did, but pretty stupid to do this and to do it anywhere near government servers that this stuff could be unearthed from. And credit to RFK Jr. and those folks at HHS for tracking this stuff down and finding it and releasing it to the public. I've heard people go, "Oh, I can't believe you're releasing his diaries. Oh, this is none of your business. This is private information." Look, he's a government employee. Was probably doing this on government time with government servers. Look, that's on you, man. I'm glad you were dumb enough to do that. You had your hands on the cookie jar, and we finally got you. But in any event, it's getting close to 9 a.m. here, and that means that we'll be taking a top-of-the-hour break. We'll be back with the D.C. Dispatch. John and the ladies up in D.C. I think it's just an all-ladies group today. Terry, Maria, Christina, I'm sure. Maybe Lindsay Rowland is with them. But stick around, folks. We're having fun. This is great. So we'll be right back after the top-of-the-hour news break. This is the John Fredericks Show. Dan sitting in for John.
WJFN, W224EB, 92.7 FM Chester, W299DB, 107.7 Bon Air, 100.5 FM Goochland, and WJFB Portsmouth.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Rich Thomason. Promises made, promises kept. President Trump had vowed to retaliate for a failed Iranian attack on U.S. troops in Jordan, and the American military has delivered on that pledge.
The U.S. military has said it has completed what it described as a heavy wave of strikes against Iran. Iran responded by striking a Chinese firm's building in northern Kuwait. U.S. Central Command released footage on Thursday of planes taking off from the flight deck of an aircraft carrier and aerial footage of targets on the ground hit by airstrikes. U.S. Central Command says the attacks on Iran targeted Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps. The latest U.S. barrage on Iran comes after the U.S. partnered with Saudi Arabia to strike Iranian-backed militias in neighboring Iraq, killing at least 26 people. I'm Karen Shamas.
Earthquake death toll in Japan continues to rise, now up to 25. Search and rescue crews continue their work in what's a race against the clock. That quake struck Japan's southern main island of Kyushu on Tuesday. Higher humidity, cooler temperatures, and a bit of rain offering hope for relief from devastating wildfires in southwest France. 84,000 of the 200,000 plus evacuees now being allowed to return to their homes. Fastest growing Ebola outbreak ever has killed more than 1,500 people in eastern Congo. Official data out today shows a 50% spike in deaths in about a week. As of Tuesday, there were 3,442 cases and 1,521 deaths. The Fed's preferred inflation barometer grew more slowly last month, rising 3.7% from a year ago. Also, the U.S. economy grew 1.5% April through June. Wall Street futures ahead of the opening bell. Dow futures up 189. NASDAQ futures 446 points higher. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Well, it's official. My friends have all switched to Pure Talk because I told them they could save a bunch of money on a super reliable high-speed network with unlimited data. And because they're my friends, they trust me. As for the rest of you, well, Pure Talk understands that even though you might like me, you're not just going to take my word for it, nor should you. For that reason, and for a very limited time, Pure Talk is offering any of their plans for just $15 a month for the first 3 months, including their top-tier unlimited plan that normally sells for $65 a month. Think of it like a test drive, a super simple way to save $150 while you kick the tires on Pure Talk's blazing fast network, and a fine way to see for yourself why I switched from big wireless, along with a few 100,000 of my closest friends. Dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and be connected to Pure Talk's friendly U.S. customer service team. Again, dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and let the savings begin.
A man previously convicted of attacking author Salman Rushdie has been found guilty of additional charges.
Hadi Matar, the man who stabbed Satanic Verses author Salman Rushdie at the Chautauqua Institution, has been convicted of federal terrorism charges. A jury in Buffalo, New York, took just a few hours to find him guilty of all charges, including engaging in an act of transnational terrorism. Matar faces a potential life sentence at his sentencing in November. He's already serving a 25-year sentence for attempted murder on state charges. Prosecutors said evidence from Matar's New Jersey bedroom and his computer pointed to months of tracking and preparations for what he hoped would be an execution. I'm Jennifer King.
As wildfires burn and successive heat waves grip France and Spain, a severe drought causing record low water levels on the Danube River, affecting tourism as well as industry. The river flows through 10 countries, has receded to unprecedented lows, exposing rocks, old shipwrecks, even a World War II bomb. News and analysis, townhall.com. Ouch, this hurts.
David Cifaldi and his 2 hiking companions were crossing Montana's froze-to-death plateau July 20th when Cifaldi slipped and became impaled by his trekking pole.
I remember rolling over and this kind of realization of like, something's not right here. Realized I had this trekking pole stuck in my side.
Cifaldi, a 32-year-old wound care nurse, was concerned about the cost of a rescue helicopter, so
I was able to kind of talk to my friends a little bit and get everybody on the same page that we were going to make the decision to hike out. It took us 6.5 hours.
The pole missed any vital organs. I'm Donna Warder.
Microsoft posting strong quarterly earnings, beating expectations. Company earned $90 billion. April through June, that's up 18% from a year earlier. Significant growth in its cloud computing platform. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Hey folks, Al Green here for SatPhone. When you're on the go, you want to know you're connected. If it's a family vacation or an off-the-grid escape to a remote destination, having reliable communication helps you feel safe and secure. You can't afford to find yourself in a dead zone. That's why you need SatPhone. SatPhones are reliable, durable, and give you global coverage. If you can get outside, you can get in touch. It's that simple. Make calls from your SatPhone to any regular cell phone in the United States. The phones are $1,500 value, but you can get yours free. Just sign up for a 15-month plan, $94.95 a month. Get 150 minutes monthly that roll to the next month. Go 3 months without using them, that's fine. Yes, 3 months, 450 minutes, all yours. Visit SAT123.com or call 855-980-5830. SAT123.com, 855-980-5830. Get surety and security with your sat phone. Call now.
MyPillow's second annual mega sale is finally here. Get our patented premium MyPillows that adjust your exact individual needs to give you the best sleep of your life.
When I got my pillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
I guarantee they're going to be the most comfortable pillows you'll ever own. King size only $24.98, queen size only $19.98. Giza Dream bed sheets, the best sheets in history, as low as $29.98. Luxpier's 6-piece towel sets, towels that actually dry you. What a concept. Now only $39.98. And our made in the USA mattresses and mattress toppers as low as $99.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to take advantage of our second annual mega sale. Plus, free shipping options available when you order today. So don't delay, order now.
Washington is wasting $500 million every year on a federal supervision system that doesn't work. Probation officers are overwhelmed. Resources are going to people who pose zero threat, while actual dangerous individuals slip through the cracks. The Safer Supervision Act stops the waste and refocuses every dollar on protecting families from harm. President Trump's own pollster found about 80% of Trump voters want this fixed. It's time for Congress to get this done. Stop the waste. Protect our communities. Visit safersupervision.com. Paid for by the Reform Action Fund.
Ponder this. All of God's children, you and I, have been created in God's own image. It's hard to fathom, isn't it? One thing we do know about God is that He is perfectly free. So He created us perfectly free to follow Him and free to deny Him. We have the choice. Our choice, however, has eternal consequences. It is the biggest decision in your life. I'm sure that most of you, if not all of you, want the final elevator ride to go up, not down. How we live on this earth determines our eternal destination, up or down, heaven or hell, and yes, hell is real. God has rules for us to follow in order to be admitted into His heavenly home. Just like the rules you may have for people to enter your home, maybe you do not allow smoking or profane language, God too has rules. There are 10 of them. We are called to obey His rules, not to change them, adapt them, or ignore them. The 10 Commandments guide our entry into eternal life. We must obey His rules in order to enter His heavenly home. I'm Susie Kelly, and I am passionately Catholic.
All right, folks, I need you to do something right now. Go to johnfredericksradio.com and take our brand new 2028 Republican presidential straw poll. Who do you want leading the ticket? Don't let the elites decide. Make your voice heard. While you're there, weigh in on 2 huge issues: eminent domain reform and President Trump's tariff policies. Are they protecting American workers or hurting growth? This is your movement, your vote, your voice, your choice. Go to johnfredericksradio.com right now and take the poll.
Live from the studios of the John Fredericks Media Network, it's The John Fredericks Show. Grab yourself a cup of 1775 coffee, sit back, and get ready for the best 4 hours of talk in the universe. To be part of the show, just call our toll-free number, 888-480-5646. And now, here's the Godzilla of Truth, the Oracle of the Deplorables, the man who trucks the truth from coast to coast, John Fredericks.
All right, while they're getting the sound going, I will get on the mic just to make sure that we don't have dead air, folks. We should be back with the DC Dispatch just shortly. This is Dan, for the time being, on the mic for John and Lindsay Rowland and Terry Gilberg and Christina Goodlander, all in studio for the DC Dispatch this morning. And I tell you what, I've been in that studio. It's amazing that we get that many people in the studio every Thursday, and I hope that it's not blazing hot in there, because I know that we've had some issues with the sun coming in and everything, but everybody looks great. And what I'm going to do real quick, we'll go to a short commercial break again and be back as soon as we're done with setting up the audio for the DC Dispatch and resolving these issues. So stick with us. We are the DC Dispatch. You're listening to the John Fredericks Show. We'll be right back.
Washington is wasting $500 million every year on a federal supervision system that doesn't work. Probation officers are overwhelmed. Resources are going to people who pose zero threat, while actual dangerous individuals slip through the cracks. The Safer Supervision Act stops the waste and refocuses every dollar on protecting families from harm. President Trump's own pollster found about 80% of Trump voters want this fixed. It's time for Congress to get this done. Stop the waste. Protect our communities. Visit safersupervision.com. Paid for by the Reform Action Fund.
Ponder this. Have you ever been so...
Don't touch that dial. You've found your home of the truth.
Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
With the best analysis in America.
You can't handle the truth.
And now back to the John Fredericks Show.
And you're on the DC Dispatch. Sorry, we had a few technical issues here, but we're good to go. Got the ladies with us. Want to just start, though. If you want to lose weight, you're probably looking at me saying, how'd you lose all that weight? Lean. 9 days I've been on it. I lost 40 pounds. Before this, then I got stuck at 245. No good. So now somebody turned me on the lean. This is one of our callers, John in Monmouth County, and I've been taking it for 9 days. I've already lost 1 pound. But the great thing about it is I don't want to take a shot. I'm not taking GLP. I don't want my blood sugar to spike. I'm not interested in that. It's synthetic. No way I would do that. If you're doing it, fine. That's up to you. I'm not going to do it. I prefer natural. That's why I'm taking lean now. Take 3 of these when I get up. Full glass of water, take 3 of them, helps your metabolism, boom. Helps your energy, boom. Your appetite goes down a little bit, boom. I get up at 3:45 every day. I don't have time to go work out or walk or do exercise. Then I get home at night. I got to go knock on doors and get signatures because I know Christina Goodlander is going to be following up with me at 8:30 asking how many signatures I got. So I got to deal with that call every night, adding additional stress to my life. And so she's like, how many signatures do you have? How many doors did you knock on today? She's like a slave driver. She's worse than Ann. So I got to get a good night's sleep. I got to get ready to go. So that's why I take lean. Check this out. If you're serious about losing weight, just go to takelean.com, takelean.com, and then put in promo code Godzilla, get 10% off, takelean.com. Go on a journey with me. When I get to 225, you're going to be jealous. Then you're going to say, how did this guy lose 60 pounds in 2 years? That's the way to do it over time. Can't do it all in the day. It all comes back. Want to thank our crew here in the DC Dispatch for being with us. Maria Pickering, not with us today. She's at a funeral, so hope she's okay. Right to left, we'll go right down with Lindsay Rowland. She is head of the Washington, D.C. America First organization. Thank you. You're doing a super job.
Thank you, John.
In setting that up. The one and only Terry Gilberg. Well, she was on Clear Channel. She was on Salem. She's very media savvy, gracing us with her expertise and presence here on the DC Dispatch. And then the vice chair of the DC GOP, Christina Goodlander. Thank you, Christina, for being with us. Christina, also my political director and once again, my campaign manager for my new campaign for neighborhood commissions. So I'm knocking on doors, getting signatures for that and trying to meet Christina's expectations. She's a slave driver. Lots going on today. You are. Lots going on today. Look, if you want Christina as your campaign manager and you don't want to work, bad combo. It's just not going to, I would not recommend it. You want to work, she's great, right? But you gotta be able to work. Let's start with Christina and let's start with the DoorDash debacle going on in DC with the socialists. Don't want you to get any DoorDash. Christina Goodlander, take it.
No, they don't. So the Free DC Project and some of our local lefty politicians, such as Robert White, who's running for Congress, have decided that they are going to go full schoolyard bully on DoorDash because they are displeased that DoorDash doesn't want DC to have more taxes. So they've called for all of their people to delete DoorDash. And not only that, they're now demanding that DoorDash issue a statement denouncing ICE and denouncing President Trump's safe and beautiful DC task force, which is completely outside the scope of everything. But it just goes to show that socialists, that Marxists, that these people are complete bullies and that they want to crush everybody who does not publicly cheerlead for their political projects. And this is wrong. It's bad.
I agree with everything she said, and it was a great setup.
Uber Eats is in the same category, I guess. They're competitors with DoorDash, but Uber Eats also does not want 20 cents on every dollar, a 20-cent extra delivery with regard to taxes. Who would want that? Nobody would want that. So they're going to have to go up against.
Why are they doing that?
Because they're crazy, because they're whack. They got rocks in their head. They push this constant progressive. I'm with you on this constant progressive agenda. Now they want them to denounce ICE. ICE, as you just mentioned, has nothing to do with it. DC task. It's mindless. I mean, it's so vapid. But I don't think it's going to work, John. I think it's going to boomerang. Nobody, not any of these kids, and a lot of them are kids, and they have great jobs scooting around town trying to deliver your pizza, your sandwich, your black coffee even.
They do a good job.
They do a great job. They run red lights, but they do a great job in not getting killed. They don't want 20 cents on every dollar. They just don't. I don't want it for them either. This is a tax hike, which is not necessary. And one of the reasons you just asked, why are they doing it? They support this home rule situation, which is the same situation that you and I support. Home rule is good if it can be good governance. And when it can't be good governance, President Trump and this administration are going to rattle their cage again, just like they did with the National Guard.
Well, Comer basically blew the whole thing up, right? And he got it out of committee. Basically saying we're not going to do that a week ago. Then Phil Mendelson, one of the council members, got on Kojo or whatever that show is. I need to get on that by the way. I got to call him up when I have time. But he gets on there and says, "Well, this thing is going down because I've got Republicans voting against Comer's no tax." But there's not a single Republican in an election cycle that is going to vote for increased taxes in Washington, D.C. So I don't know where this guy's getting this info, Lindsay, but there's no Republican in Congress that's going to say, no, I'm going to vote with the Democrats to increase DoorDash taxes and everything else in D.C. It's not going to happen.
20 cents on a dollar. Crazy.
Yeah. And it's kind of sad that the House, took recess this week. And so the vote probably won't come until they come back August 31st, unless they're called back into session again. So we are going to have to wait a little bit. But he did come through pretty quick on that. Comer did. My question is where is Uber Eats and Grubhub? Like, would it not be cool if the three of those companies combined and they fought the 20 cents? Why does it have to just be DoorDash? I mean, why can't they unite and show a little grit? They're all staying silent, and and who cares if you're not using DoorDash? Give the Democrats something to do in the city. Don't delete your DoorDash app, go for it. Like, it doesn't matter because the company's so big nationally that DC is just a sliver of it. But so I would call on the other companies. What are you doing? And you're just going to let this go. You're going to eat the 20 cents. So what are you doing would be my question.
Well, I can answer that question that you asked with one word.
Answer it, John.
Leadership.
Good word.
Yeah.
It's all leadership. The CEO of DoorDash is a leader. And so he's had enough. And so he's willing to step out there and say, no, this is ridiculous for my company. And I'm opposed to it. And then you got to take the risk of the apps getting deleted. However, if the other two weasel leaders from Grubhub and Uber Eats, like Lindsay said, were to support him, isn't there something called solidarity? Well, then there's nowhere to go. Then you can't get your food delivered, right? So then only, I guess, Republicans are going to get their food delivered. But because they're not doing it, it's almost a weasel move. Like, well, we'll let DoorDash take the hit.
Exactly.
We'll let DoorDash get all the apps deleted. We'll let DoorDash do everything. We'll reap the benefit of it, and we'll get rid of the tax. See, that is the antithesis of leadership. That's cowardice.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous because at the end of the day, these free DC people, these socialists, they're bullies. And it might start with saying, let's pick on DoorDash, delete DoorDash. But then look at when we use the word progressive, what is it that we were progressing toward? Look at what's happening in New York City, where you had the mayor release a list of every New Yorker who owns a property that's more than $1 million with their name, an address,
Mhm.
which was basically meant to be a targeted list.
Mhm.
Anybody who has a screw loose can find that list and go and harass those people or worse. This is what these bullies are progressing toward, and they need to be shut down.
Do you
They
really
need
think,
to not stand
do
for it.
any of you really think that even the most progressive person out there that wants that midnight pizza is actually going to delete the app? I don't.
No.
I don't. People that want their food right now, or they're pulling an all-nighter with college. College is coming back, right? The GW kids are coming back, I think in 2 weeks. They're going to want DoorDash. And they're not going to be deleting their app, even if they're on the left. I just don't think that much is going to happen. What do you think?
Well, then there's the backlash of people like me that would never order Uber Eats or Grubhub again, and I would only go to DoorDash, and I'll wait 15 minutes if I have to, just to show them that I support what they're doing, because that tax comes out of my pocket.
Right. Right.
Right. So why? I mean, at least DoorDash's leadership stood up and said, we're not going to stand for this. And then, somebody brought up these young workers they have driving around on the bicycles. They work really hard.
They do.
And so all this is going to do is it's going to hurt their tips, because 20 cents a dollar. If I order something for $50, now I'm paying another $10. Now it's $60. Well, instead of leaving them a $10 tip, it's going to go to $3, because it's just too much money. So so they get screwed.
It
right?
always trickles down.
And
that
then
way.
what they tried to do was, now they're suing. They're still suing. It's not going to go anywhere over the one big beautiful bill. So then they want their taxes tipped, of their tips taxed, right? Because that's not going anywhere. But because right now that one big beautiful bill stands at the law in DC until otherwise.
Right.
But all they want to do is screw the worker, raise your taxes.
Yeah, DC already has the highest government spending per capita of any jurisdiction in the United States. And they just want more. It's greedy, and it hurts citizens, it hurts businesses, and it needs to stop.
On that note, I think we should segue into props to Mario Bowser from me. I know I might be a lone voice on this panel, but she put the kibosh on the city council bringing back all of the cuts that she had cut in April. And she says, I'm not going to sign the damn paperwork on this. I'm not doing it. Good for you, Mario Bowser. She's looking better and better every day in my mind. Now it's going to be a fight. Eventually it's going to go to Congress, whether she signs it or not. But her budget that was trying to shore up $1.1 billion, she cut this, she cut that. She cut all this childcare stuff. She cut all these social programs. That city council, under her nose, knowing a new mayor is going to come in, said, we're putting it all back. And she raised the Riot Act and put the gavel down and says, fine, I'm not signing it. Good for you, Mario Bowser. If you listen to this program, you get props from me.
So what happens if she doesn't sign it? Can they override it?
Whether she signs it,
to pass.
yes, whether she signs it or not, it goes to Congress.
It's a symbolic gesture, but I think
Why
it
did she
is a
veto
good
it?
one.
Because they'd override the veto.
It's going to go to Congress
Because
anyway.
the DC Council is to the left of San Francisco. This is the issue. The council is to the left of San Francisco, and after November, it will probably be even further to the left.
It'll be to the left of the CCP in China, right?
Yeah, our the woman who's likely to be elected in Ward 1, the Democratic Party nominee, Aparna Raj, who's a member of the Democratic Socialists, was just on Hassan Piker's podcast. Now, Hassan Piker is best known for saying that America deserved 9/11. These people are crazy.
Well, then you got Phil Mendelson, who's normally a reasonable council member, normally, but I guess they're all under pressure now. Basically, going on this radio show and popping off that they had bipartisan support in Congress not to pass Comer's wiping the tax increase bill out. I mean, where did he he wouldn't name a name. There's no, what Republican in an election cycle is going to break with Comer's committee and say, yeah, I'm going to vote with the Democrats to get a 25% tax increase on every Washingtonian. Who the hell's going to do that?
You're so right, John. He popped off.
It's
Just
stupid.
verbal diarrhea.
It's verbal diarrhea is all it is. It's
absolutely
absolute nonsense. I mean, I respect Phil and I respect his position, but give me a name. Like, there's nobody going to vote. Like, who? Like, you're running for Congress in what? Iowa, and you're going to vote. Yeah, let's screw the people in D.C. And I'm gonna vote with Mandami and Hakeem Jeffries. Not going to happen.
Not going to happen. And by the way, whatever happens, whether she vetoes it or signs it or whatever, it's going to Congress anyway. And I think this move by the city council is just cannon fodder for James Comer to look at this and go, oh, let me take a second look at all of this. So they're shooting themselves in the foot by putting $1.1 billion back into this budget. Stupid, stupid, stupid. But dumb dumber is as stupid does, right? Dumb dumber.
Lindsay, where's home rule going?
I think this scenario is chipping away at it. I think that, well, going back to DoorDash, I mean, two things can be true. They can support home rule and they cannot want a 20-cent increase on the dollar. But I also think that in the background, they're saying, hey, this home rule is something that we obviously need to look at. They're putting it out there in the public. And I think that it's not going anywhere quickly, but I think this is how it starts. You start to chip away at it. You have big business come after it. You have somebody make a stand. And so, I think it's headed in the right direction, but I don't think it's going anywhere real soon.
Well, I don't agree with that.
Okay, let's hear what you got to say, John.
And then we'll get everybody to chip in. I don't think President Trump is going to stand for this. I don't think, if you look at everything he's doing, and we'll run the clip in a minute on him now wanting to refurbish Dulles Airport in Ashburn, Virginia. You look at everything he's done to rebuild the city. He wants to rebuild the city. He's fixated on it. He's just not going to let this go south. And without passing the SAVE Act, I don't know what they're going to do with that. But I think the president's had enough. And I know Christina thinks there'll be a governing commission or whatever you guys call that.
A control board?
A control board. I think that's probably the least of what they're going to do. I just don't see this. Look, this is a guy that went to war with Iran because he was told they had the ability to deploy 10 nuclear warheads. And with the realization it could sink him in the midterms, but he's got the courage to do the right thing. He's just not going to stand idly by and see the city that he believes in, that he's built back up, go back into the crapper. You all can comment.
And it looks beautiful, folks. If you didn't come out for the 250th, come out this summer and see how pretty the city looks. Actually, it's getting that majestic feel to it. By the way, you know those two beautiful horses from Italy that is right next to the Memorial Bridge, those two giant horses?
Aren't they gorgeous?
Yes. They unveiled them now. They're gold.
They're gold.
They're
gorgeous.
Golden.
When you drive into the city,
it is so majestic.
It's the first thing you see.
Beautiful. Beautiful. They clean them up, folks. It's golden. I said to my husband this morning when we were talking a little bit about the golden horses from Italy, which was a gift from the Italian government post-World War II, by the way. I said, maybe we should just say Donald Gold Trump. There's so much gold now in the city, in the White House, in the new ballroom. It looks gorgeous. I mean, it looks majestic. It looks like a number one city.
It's not about being ostentatious. It's about beautifying.
It's also just everything is so clean now. So I've talked about this on the show before. I love Meridian Hill Park, which is a beautiful cascading fountain, sort of
gorgeous,
in between Columbia Heights and U Street. So I was there the other Sunday. They do a drum circle every Sunday, which is kind of fun. But I was looking at the fountain and I noticed there was a new sign that said no swimming. And I looked at the water and it was so clean that I can see why they put up that sign, because I would have jumped in myself. It was just so clean and beautiful. And this is what our nation's capital should be. And this one wasn't ostentatious. It's just gorgeous. It's clean. You had families enjoying the gorgeous park, getting outside, getting some fresh air. And this is what our cities should be.
It adds the bling, clean water, a touch of gold here and there, shiny, shiny metro. I can't get over the Windex that is being used on the metro. It's a thing. I love it. I love it. You can see your reflection now in the metro.
But Free DC is complaining about Meridian Hill Park. They had a thing on their website about how President Trump is colonizing it. Or, I mean, they don't call him President Trump. They just say Trump's military occupation is colonizing Meridian Hill Park, which is utterly absurd.
Well, he cleaned it up, so
They've
you could go in
cleaned
there
it
and
up,
you
and
could
it's
go in there and be safe and have a
gorgeous.
picnic with your family.
Right, and
What does that mean, colonizing it? Ted's colonizing.
This is the thing. This is why I think that these bullies don't have a majority, right? They're loud. But when you actually go to Meridian Hill Park, you see families. Most of them are probably Democrats, and they're out and they're just enjoying the gorgeous park, and they're happy that it's clean, that there are fewer rats, and that the water's flowing.
And they're ordering DoorDash probably for lunch.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see how they vote because of all the negativity here on Trump in D.C. It's off the charts. But it's going to be interesting to see how this flows out. Now, President Trump yesterday in the Oval Office talking about he wants to completely refurbish two of the concourses for Dulles, which I agree with. Those of us that live here, Dulles is a great option. I don't fly out of BWI for obvious reasons. It's too far. But Dulles is an option for us. And you take the metro right there. It's about, from McPherson, where I get on, it's about a 40-minute ride. Bingo, you're there. It's a long walk. But he wants to refurbish it. Dan, let's go to President Trump yesterday on beautifying Dulles Airport in Virginia.
This is all about the Dulles Airport remodeling. It's considered one of the worst airports anywhere in the world. We're going to make it maybe the best with some hard work and some good thought process. But thank you for being here as we unveil exciting plans for a major and long overdue renovation and reconstruction of Washington's really horribly thought of Dulles International Airport. We are announcing plans to add more than 5 million square feet of new or renovated space. We'll replace the current C and D concourses, which are basic disasters, all the while preserving the iconic original terminal. That is one of the great architects of the world did the original terminal, and it was very, very important that it be left. That's one of the reasons. It was both an asset and a liability. The liability is that nobody wanted to build anything near it. And people had to walk crazy distances, and it's no good, not acceptable. So we've addressed it all, and we have a plan that's going to be phenomenal.
Into Dulles Airport, and he's right. Those of us that fly out of there, I mean, even though that's a 40-50-minute ride, depending on where you are in the metro, once you get there, if you're going to D, I mean, that's like a 40 minutes. It takes you 40 minutes to get there. And if you got a roller bag, forget about it. Then you got to go on those trams. He wants to get rid of those. But he's trying to do the right thing. And Ryan here, our resident Ratbird fan, Ravens fan, mentioned to me that since Southwest has pulled out of BWI, that it's not really an option for DC residents anymore. We basically got Reagan and Dulles. But Christina, I mean, again, President Trump looking at Dulles, saying, it's too far, it's too long to get to C and D. It looks like crap. We're going to fix it. How can people be upset at that?
Right. It takes forever. When you land at Dulles, it's at least an hour to get out of the airport. Whereas right now, when you land at Reagan, once you're off the plane, you're out of the airport in 10 minutes.
Right.
So this refurbishment is very much needed because, first of all, this is the first thing that when international visitors come to Washington, D.C., Dulles Airport is the first thing that they see. If you're flying internationally, it's Dulles. But increasingly, if you're flying from within the United States, you're flying into Dulles. If you're flying on United, you're coming into Dulles. Pretty much, unless you're flying on American, which goes to Reagan, which is what I fly, you're going to Dulles. So this is... I'm very pleased to see that this is happening.
Yeah, we can't put all this work into beautifying the city and then have them show up at a basic disaster, C&D wing. Trump called it the basic disaster. But yeah, we can't. We're putting all this work and people want to show up and we want to show our best, and it starts in the airport. So it's a great idea. Trump just needs to keep moving on the beautification because DC's looking better every day. And like I said, it starts with the airport.
Well, there already was some backstory moving on it before President Trump made his press conference on Dulles yesterday. And they had already planned $7 billion. Secretary Duffy was on that and said, yeah, here's what everybody's been talking about. Here's the plans. Here's the this. Here's the that. Concourse C and Concourse D are really terrible. Let's get the trains going, the trams, I guess, going faster. Now, because of that press conference, Secretary Duffy and others with the airport commission. I mean, there's a number of commissions. I forget all the acronyms for them, but says, let's take it all the way to $20 billion because it's worth it to give that Dulles Airport a facelift. Look at the plans. Just go online and look at some of these plans. Beautiful
They're
plans.
beautiful.
20 billion now. So that was a jump up because President Trump said, if you build it, they will come. Let's make it nice. I am all about, he's such a doer. You know, say what you want to about the president, warts and all. Say what you want to. He is a doer.
Yes.
And he sets the sight high.
Right.
And if he falls, my dad used to always say, set your sights high, go to the moon, and if you fall, at least you're on a cloud. And that's what he does. He overdoes it, and then if he falls, he's at least here.
But he barely falls, so barely. Okay. And then he goes right back.
He gets right.
Look, ambition is a thing.
Ambition is
and
important.
being a doer is a thing.
I mean, he cares about the city, and he wants it beautiful, and he wants it clean, and he wants it safe. And if you're going to do that, the airports getting in and out of here have to basically reflect that.
Mm-hmm.
Reagan does. I mean, Reagan went through a refurbishing. I know that those of us that fly in and out of LaGuardia once in a while, that has gone through a major rehab since President Trump, I think, started doing that in Trump 1. But you got to beautify these airports. And I like flying out of Dulles because, you know, you get better rates sometimes and you get better direct flights. But getting the Concourse D, I mean, you basically have to leave 3 hours ahead of time.
You mentioned LaGuardia. Part of President Trump's plan, or at least he made reference to it, so I think it's in his head anyway, is to clean up Penn Station in New York. And I say go for it. He needs to do
with that with what he did with our station here, which is now a palace.
Union
it was all
Station's
squalor.
gorgeous now.
Yeah,
yes,
it was
Union
so
Station is
squalor.
beautiful now. And it all goes to how the metro is also taken people there. You mentioned 45 minutes to an hour. Who doesn't want to get on a metro, even with your valise, if your valise is even big, and mine oftentimes is, and just sit there for 45 minutes. You go right into Dulles. It's better than actually going to Reagan and hustling around. American has so many morning flights. I don't even want to be on American
Plus it's got
anymore.
internet on it.
It's
got great wireless.
It does. And it's shiny. I love that. It's clean and it's shiny.
There's no
and that
food,
metro
and it's safe.
transportation from central DC all the way up to Dulles is 45 minutes of just kind of peace. You know, you just can sit
I agree
there.
with that. I mean, it's a nice ride. You know, Reagan's, I think, 2 or 3 stops from us.
But
I mean,
Reagan is so busy. It's so busy.
I love Reagan. You can be from the metro to your gate in 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
Well, that's true.
That's what I love about it. So if Dulles can compete with that, especially as an international airport, then that's only good for our city.
It's just good. It just brings more people here. It's easier to get in and out. And it's all good. You're on the John Fredericks Media Network. This is DC Dispatch, Thursday, 9 to 10, Monday to Friday. We are with our panel today. One short, Maria Pickering, not with us today. She's at a funeral, bless her heart. We've got Lindsay Rowland right here to my right. Lindsay is the head of America First Washington, D.C. chapter that she founded and is growing. We can't wait to your next meeting coming up pretty soon. Terry Gilberg with us, former TV personality on Clear Channel and also a national radio host with Salem Radio Media. Terry, thank you. And of course, the one and only Christina Goodlander, both my political director, the DC vice chair of the DC GOP, and hopefully a candidate for chairman when that comes around again in January. We'll get to that in a couple minutes. Lindsay, once again now, we're finding out the depth, Lindsay, of the crime data in DC being manipulated so that they can lie to the public, cover stuff up. And it's worse than we thought. Lindsay, how bad is this?
So to give you a little bit of background, so in 2013, the MPD, so a DC Inspector General report just came out, and it found that in 2013, the MPD eliminated staff review units, and these were used to audit, to do independent reviews, to find errors in policing and in reports. And so basically, people have been able to file reports, and they're not final, they're not finished. People can go in and change things that they want. So we don't really know what has been going on with these reports, because basically anyone can do whatever they want. And so then you have 2013, you eliminate the staff review unit. And then in 2020, you defund police by 15 million. And then in 2024, you highlight conveniently lower crime in DC. Right. And then in 2026, now we have prolonged systematic breakdown. And you can't get another negative word in there. Prolonged systematic breakdown. And at the end of the day, when public trust declines, when people believe crime data cannot be relied on. And so just the basis, if you're sending in your intern son here or your daughter, you look at the neighborhoods, which ones are safe? Is DC really safe? Mm-hmm. And if you can't depend on, and so now we don't know what has been happening since 2013. So I mean, I don't know. I asked you guys, how do we even start to build trust back into this process?
Well, the IG had 5 recommendations to build trust back, and they are. Look them up.
Yeah.
It lacked an independent review unit, so a new review unit is going to come in. It has a weakness in the recording system. So the record system that records has to be those loopholes have to be closed. Outdated policies, insufficient audits, the restoring of MPD crime review report has to either be what was there before or something new with a new facelift. I'm for the new facelift. Strengthening the oversight of crime reports, updating policies. I know I'm going long because they only said there was 5, but there really were more like 7 or 8. The bottom line is that when the IG came in, and here's a prop to Mayor Mario Bowser again, folks. She said, in an embarrassing way, oh my goodness, some of my inspectors, some of my second to the chief of police, assistant police, some of the lieutenants have cooked the books on crime, made her look terrible, which also kind of promoted President Trump bringing in the National Guard. Mm-hmm. So she's got egg on her face. She says, bring in the AIG, the Inspector General. The Inspector General, after she let go of 13 department leaders that went on leave, the Inspector General has this long report. Here's where they screwed up, in my humble opinion. On Tuesday, today is Thursday, Tuesday, just 2 days ago, they stopped short of saying there was no fraud here. No fraud, nothing to look at with regard to fraud. Really? Oh, you cooked the books for almost 10 years and there's no fraud? Come on, Inspector General. Number 2, it's the crime itself we have to look at and the intentionality. There was no malintent. Really? Okay, when you take a homicide and you don't say it's a felony, there's no malintent there? Really? And then we haven't really misled the public or misreported, is what the IG said about the police department. Hard to identify the culprits. Hard to identify the culprits.
What was
Nuts.
their, Goodlander, what was their objective in cooking the books? What do they try to do with this over this long period of time?
I think some of this is damage control, and then some of this is running cover for the ever leftward march of the DC Council and the DC local government. Because, for instance, we had in 2023 in DC, we had 1,000 carjackings. We had the same number of homicides as London, and London is 10 times our size. And this is just what was reported. We even had a member of Congress who was carjacked a few blocks from the Capitol. This was becoming completely insane, and it was becoming a PR fiasco. Mm-hmm. So they did a couple of things. The DC Council and their lunatic lefty frame of mind changed the definition of carjacking. So now if you voluntarily get out of the car, it doesn't count as a carjacking, even if there's a gun to your head. Yeah. They've changed all of these definitions. I believe they've discouraged reporting of low-level crimes like robberies, because most robberies now are not reported and that they therefore don't become part of the statistics. A lot of assaults are never reported and don't become part of the statistics. But at the end of the day, even the things that are reported, the books are being cooked because this is about giving cover to the far left political establishment in this city.
Yeah. But it just egged Trump on to bring in the National Guard. Again, they shot themselves in the foot. No pun intended. I mean,
It's
and
like
not literally.
When Mandami in New York City has questions about the fact that rapes in New York have gone up dramatically. And his response to that is, well, we relaxed the definition of rape. Therefore, there's more rapes reported, but they're not really rapes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what the hell does that mean?
Well,
You
it's
know,
the
rape is a rape.
intentionality. It's the
Like
vocabulary.
intentionality, like I didn't mean to rape you, but I kind of did. What does that even mean?
Well,
It's like in Europe where you have this teenage girl who was gang raped and she got a higher sentence than her rapist because she called them pigs. It's insane.
It's insane.
It's third worldism and it needs to stop. And we need to vote against it in our cities.
You know what's frustrating about this IG report? They went on ride-alongs. They did 30 interviews. They spotted red flags all over the. This is 10 years. 10 years of this.
Yeah, they did
with
nothing.
this oversight. And then they come up with, well, no intentionality. It depends on the vocabulary. Hard to identify the culprits because the culprits were going clandestinely into the books to call a felony a misdemeanor.
It's incredible.
And one of the examples, by the way, there was an example that the IG reported, and he said, or he shared the committee, one burglary, even though they got 3 calls. So they started looking into that. And another sub organization, I don't know, sub agenda of the IG said, wait a minute, these are not one burglary and that had to do with 3 instances. These are 3 individual burglaries in the same neighborhood. And then the IG, of course, had to look at it. I mean, good for the IG to do all these interviews and go on ride-alongs, etc. But don't come up with this bottom line at the top of the page that says there's no intent here. There's no malintent. You got to really look at the nature of the crime, how the crime's vocabulary works. Well, a felony's a felony, right, John?
Yes.
A misdemeanor is a misdemeanor.
Yes.
Cooking the books on crime and cooking the books on vocabulary ought to be a crime.
Well, it's like Lindsay said, you're basing those studies on where you're going to move, where you're going to buy a house, you know, where you're going to take your kids, what park to go to. I mean, you're taking those, and if they're phony, you know, you're taking your life in your hands. So this is criminal activity, and for the IG to just blow it off and talk about intentionality. I mean, this is what the left does. I don't even know what that means. It's like we relax the definition of rape, therefore there's more rapes. It's you know, the question is intentionality. What do you mean? The intentionality is you're not telling the truth. I mean, I don't get it.
The person who gets murdered doesn't care what the intentionality of the murderer was. At the end of the day, it's a murder.
It's insane.
I liked what you said, though, Lindsay. School's starting for George Washington, and I think for American University and Catholic University.
Maryland.
And in Maryland in about 2 weeks. We're almost in August. And what you said is parents are coming. They're snooping around. They want to get their kids in certain apartments and certain
Snooping
dorms.
around?
Yeah, they're going, ooh, let me look at this. Let me look at that. And my kid's safe.
That's
And
a
they're
good
not
way to put
safe.
it.
They're
They're
not
snooping
safe, to your point, when they're looking at these statistics as well.
Right.
That's a good point.
They're not.
Yeah, because what dorm do they go in, or what apartment do they
Yeah.
get? I mean, they want to look at that, and they are snooping.
And they should.
This goes back a long time. When I was an undergrad at Georgetown back in 2006, so 20 years ago, we had a girl.
20 years ago?
Yes. We had a girl who was shot about 4 blocks from campus.
No kidding.
And it took MPD an hour to get to the scene. So this is
This is
not
Georgetown.
This is Georgetown. This was on Prospect Street.
Wow.
Nice neighborhood. And it took
You went to
MPD
Georgetown, right?
I did. And it took MPD an hour to get to the scene of the crime. So this is not new.
Shameful. Shameful.
They were understaffed back then.
Wow. Wow. Terrible. Really terrible. Did she survive?
She did. She was just shot in the leg, but at the same time, I mean, getting shot in Georgetown is not something that
all.
one would. That's not an acceptable situation.
I don't think it's acceptable to get shot in Georgetown, but
Yeah.
you're right. I mean, colleges are coming back. Joe's been home for because he was in rehab, so I think he goes back on was it Wednesday? So speaking of that,
Wednesday,
I got to talk Lindsay into doing cat care.
Cat
care.
Cat care. Yeah, Sammy needs, because we're going away for Thanksgiving.
Oh.
If you're home, you got to do cat care.
I would love to.
I'm going to beg you to do that, because Anna's like, who have they? Because Marcy takes care of him, and she'll be home for Thanksgiving. She lives in our building, and we can't leave Sammy alone. He's got to have.
Can Sammy and I go rat chasing?
You can go rat chasing, but you got to put him on the leash. He's kind of retired now, though.
Oh, you're retired.
So, yeah,
all right.
he's kind of
good.
retired. But he got two of them. When I'm speaking of that, so I'm knocking on doors. I'm running for Advisory Neighborhood Commission, which is in what is it? The second ward and number 2 of the second ward. That it's an elected position. It's nonpartisan. It's very hyper local, and you're dealing with very local issues. And the reason I'm doing that is because I tell people on my radio and TV show every day to get involved in your local precinct. Be a precinct captain, be a poll worker, get involved, be a precinct chairman. That's how you take the party over from the ground up. And if I say it, then I have to do it. Otherwise, I'm just, pontificating and not doing what I'm saying. So
Verbal diarrhea.
Exactly. I mean, you got to lead by example. Look, it's not a fun thing to do, right? I mean, it's not a glamorous position, because if you do win, you're basically, people are going to call you up and say, the DC people didn't pick my garbage up, or there's a homeless guy out here or something. You got to go deal with it. But it keeps you humble, and it keeps you very local and connected to the community that you live in. So I love the concept of DC having the Advisory Neighborhood Commission, and it's an elected position. I got to get on the ballot, so that's why Christine and I are trying to get the signatures. We'll loop you into our campaign on this weekend, trying to get them. But having said that, you find out when you're knocking on doors what people are thinking, and it's not what the polls are saying. Because I've knocked on probably 35 doors now, trying to get my signatures. Some people aren't home. Some people you think are registered voters, they're not. But I asked them, what are your major issues? And it's all the same. It's like, I want my district to be safe, and I want to get rid of the rats. That's it. That's their local issues.
And taxes down.
And we don't really do that.
They don't talk about taxes?
No, nobody has told me taxes. But that's not the. See, I'm not running for council, so that's not the core of what the position is.
It's rats. Rats
Yeah.
are your core.
So it's like
Rats are the thing
because
that I'm hearing the most as I've been out talking.
I mean, Advisory Neighborhood Council has nothing to do with taxes.
But people don't even mention that.
No, they mention
Where you do have power, though, is that advisory neighborhood commissions have a great deal of power in terms of granting or denying business licenses.
Right.
So that is a pretty powerful role. But the thing that most voters are concerned about are these bread and butter basic issues: rats, safety, rats.
And a couple people mention, homeless people that are outside on the sidewalk that shouldn't be there, and they have homeless shelters. And we had a couple of them in our neighborhood. There's a couple of tents there, and you have to go through a process to get them removed. But you can smell the urine. I mean, it's just not healthy.
It's not humane for the people.
It's
living
not
in those
humane.
tents.
They should be in a homeless shelter. They should be getting taken care of. And if they have mental illness, they should have the ability to get the things. But certainly, I think every Republican that's in the city should run for Advisory Neighborhood Council, because it gets you really close to the people. You understand what the issues are.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's how we build a bench. It's how we really build the party from the ground up. And it's how we get more Republicans engaged, potentially putting more Republicans in a position to make a serious run for higher office.
That's a great
in
point.
future cycles. We need to build our bench. We need to build our bench.
And you got to get people elected. You know, you got to go through the process, and that's how you learn, and that's how you talk to voters and see what the issues are. So hopefully.
And this is why I'm so appreciative of John, because I've been banging the drum about this, and John has stepped up and he's running and leading by example. So I'm personally very grateful.
And you're running.
I'm not running for ANC.
No, but you've got a campaign going.
Well, I'm running John's campaign.
She runs my
You've got
campaign.
your own campaign going too. I mean, in
for
that
chairman.
For chairman,
Yes,
in that.
yes.
The point is, you're off your duff and you're moving forward. And when more Republicans start doing that, more Republicans we'll start doing it.
You got to lead by example.
Yeah, and
That's
it becomes more thinkable that we can elect a Republican once again to council. We've not had
That's
Republicans
exactly right.
on the DC council since 2008. Until 2008, we had Republicans on the council, but since then we haven't. And for many voters, and even for a lot of Republicans, it's become unthinkable. It's something that people can't imagine. But if we build up our bench, if we have Republicans running for advisory neighborhood commission and putting themselves in a strong position to run, then it becomes more thinkable, and then we start making real change in our city.
You'll run a great town hall. Don't you think, John?
Yes, I love having town halls because I love to talk to people and see what they think. And we're going to get McGuire to do one, but John McGuire after he gets through this campaign. But you want to be able to connect with your local residents. And the thing that I've enjoyed about it, look, you work all day. The last thing you want to do at 7 at night is go knock on doors to get signatures. You just don't. You're tired. But the beauty of it is you connect with your neighbors. Mm-hmm. And you get right down to the most grassroots level, which is what the neighborhood commission is. And it helps me as Ward 2 chairman of the DC GOP to be able to understand really what the issues are by talking to people and trying to earn their vote for the position. So win or lose, it's the right thing to do. I know you want to donate to my campaign. Maximum donation is $25. We haven't, until we qualify, we're not going to put our site up because we still need to get signatures. And I think that closes on Wednesday.
Correct.
So, but we're in pretty good shape for that. Speaking of signatures and DC, Patrick Mara, chairman, this has become now a disaster for the DC GOP. I've yet to see one press release, even on DoorDash, not one press release coming out of the DC GOP, not a single one. There's no leadership. Nobody has any idea what's going on. All they do is have, meetings with, congressmen for $1,000 advisory committee at the Capitol Hill Club. There's no grassroots going on. We don't even have a candidate for mayor. We're going to get shellacked all over the place. How does this hold it up a second, Dan? How does this guy survive?
He's all about all bark and no bite. You're not. You're just the opposite. I don't know how he survives, but he's got a terrible reputation. More and more Republicans need to challenge him. And before even that happens, more and more Republicans need to speak out, like on a program like this or knocking on doors. I'll never forget the time you knocked on our door. That's how we got reconnected after many years.
And look, Republicans in this city and in our cities in general, but especially in DC, we need to be more ambitious. We need to believe in ourselves. We need to believe that we have good values, that we have good policies, that our policies deliver prosperity, freedom, happiness, all the things that people want. We have good ideas. We need to have faith in ourselves, and we need to raise our level of ambition, and we need to raise our game. We need to make ourselves capable of winning general elections. This is what the DC Republican Party needs to do. We're starting right now. We are building from the ground up, and hopefully we'll build bigger things and we'll make real change in this city.
The bottom line is, if you want to be a chairman of a state, and that's the way the Republican Party looks at Washington, D.C., do something. I mean, what is the purpose of being the chairman and running the party if you don't do anything except have meetings at the Capitol Hill Club for $1,000? I mean, what do? No press releases. I don't even know what their position is on anything. They haven't really promoted their candidates. There's no town halls. There's absolutely nothing going on. And it's like, I don't even know why why do you want to be chairman other than to go to a meeting with a, badge on that says chairman and be in some, being on some executive committee. I mean, that does nothing to build the bench here. It does nothing to help the Washington, D.C. Republican Party be competitive or even be a player, even have a seat at the table, even to say something. We have nothing. And that is what has aggravated me. And the people that have tried to do something, Goodlander and I, get kicked out of the party. They tried to kick you out, couldn't do it because you're vice chair, kicked me out. Then we won Ward 2 chairmanship. Now they're stuck with the two of us. But they tried, two people that tried to do something, Mara tried to kick both of us out. It's unbelievable.
But now his days are numbered.
Days are
I'd
numbered.
say
because of you.
More and more people are realizing
I think
that we
so.
can be more ambitious and that we can fight, that we can take the fight to the socialists, and we must, because the Democratic Party is not the Democratic Party of 10 years ago.
Exactly.
And we need to fight.
Exactly not. And I would get on, when he had named me Ward 2 chairman, I get on these calls and I just got to tell people the level, this is before I really understood what was going on. They told me, oh, never talk to Goodlander. She's evil. Don't ever talk to her. Don't ever engage her. We get on these executive advisory calls, which into of itself is a complete joke. We get on them, and the level of abuse that this lady took on these calls, public humiliation and abuse by Mara was, I mean, it just stunned me.
Look, bring it on. I have a thick skin.
You have
it's
a thick
just
skin,
making
I'll
my
give you
skin
that.
thicker.
Yeah, I'll
Because
give you
fighting in our cities takes a thick skin. Fighting the socialists takes a thick skin. We have these bullies in Free DC. We have all of these crazy bullies on the left who don't actually represent what normal voters think. Fighting these people takes a thick skin. John has a thick skin. Lindsay has a thick skin. Terry has a thick skin. We all have a thick skin, and that's what it takes to win this fight.
Good point.
So Pat can say whatever he wants on these calls because it just thickens my skin.
Another way that they shoot themselves in the foot.
My
Good for
candidate for chairman for the DC GOP, Christina Goodlander, that'll be decided in January. Although Mara said in the Washington Post article he hadn't decided if he was going to run or not, but I think he is.
Who knows?
Who knows? Who cares?
Look,
either way, we'll beat him.
We're presenting a vision for ambition and for actually having a plan to fight and to win in our cities.
Christina Goodlander, chairman, DC GOP. My candidate. Yours?
My candidate.
Thank you, John.
Terry?
Of course. She's
4
my
votes
right-hand
right
man right this morning.
How is it decided? It's decided in a vote in January by the committee, the Republican committee, of which I'm not on that either, but I think somebody's going to nominate me and Ann. I can't wait to see that vote.
That'll be interesting.
This fall, yeah.
That's going to be the vote to watch.
That'll be fun.
That'll be fun. I imagine, no, Ann, you can't be on the committee, even though like you bust your ass for us. No, we're kicking you out. One thing to kick me out, nothing to kick her out.
Look, John got us on the front page of the Washington Post. And even people who I never thought would say that, even people on our committee who are not necessarily MAGA, even people who I thought would never say that, have been calling me up and saying, look, John got us on the front page of the Washington Post. This is more, we need more of this.
Of course. Of course.
We need
DC
to make more
Dispatch,
noise.
go to DCDispatchNow.com. That's our website, DCDispatchNow.com. We're way over, Dan. Sorry about that. I want to thank my panel. Lindsay Rowland. Thank you, Lindsay. It's always good to
Thank you for having
the
me.
Cat Whisperer.
Oh,
Terry,
God, please don't say that.
Terry, Terry Gilbert. The Cat Whisperer.
What am
Sandy's
I?
gonna
The
love
dog
me.
barker?
He is going to love me. That is true.
The dog barker. Oh, my God. And, of course, Christina Goodlander, Vice Chair of DC GOP. I want to thank everybody for being with us today. As always, we'll be right back at you tomorrow, 6 a.m., bright and early on the John Fredericks Media Network, DCDispatchNow.com. See you there.
Checks in with a record operating profit of $62 billion for the April-June quarter.